children crying for starvation, just don't spoon. You want to get a news update, my brother, don't spoon. You want to know what is happening, Moravia, don't spoon. Politicians want to make their decision, just don't spoon. You want to know what happening in the ministry, don't spoon. Kilibamba, 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 kilibamba. What I want? Yes, what you got today? Spoon TV. Yes, what you got today?
Yes, I, a special one from the CEO, Stan coming with the spoon. And your boy, Friday the Southern Band, Charges on the beat.
On the spoon to get your information. On the spoon to be part of our discussion. Spoon, spoon, spoon television. Spoon, spoon, spoon radio station.
Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Liberia.
Yes, I, a special one from the CEO.
I can't hear you. I cannot hear you. No sound.
Yes, I, a special one from the CEO, Stan coming with the spoon. And your boy, Friday the Southern Band, Charges on the beat.
On the spoon to get your information. On the spoon to be part of our discussion. Spoon, spoon, spoon television. Spoon, spoon, spoon radio station.
Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Liberia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Moravia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Africa. Just to spoon, you will know. If the children crying for starvation, just to spoon. want to get a news up?
Can you? I can't hear you. I still can't hear you, Diamond. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Much better. Yes, I can.
All right. All right. So, folks, would love to welcome you to another edition. I'll get my camera sorted out once we have the show up and running. I know you're wondering why my background is a bit blurry. I'll definitely get that sorted out once the show is up and running. I can go back, and try to sort this out as well. It's good to see you, Dr. Richardson. And
You too, Diamond. How are you doing?
yeah, God money me.
That's good. I've been praying
Don't
for
mind
you.
me. I'm trying to set another camera that I can use the audio as well. But let's be doing this with this one, and we'll get it sorted out.
Yeah, I
So,
trust
folks,
that
you're
you.
welcome.
I trust that
Yeah,
you do your best, and that's your area, so you're gonna do well in sorting it out. Um, yeah, we miss you. The viewers miss you. I'm glad to see that you're back.
yeah.
Nelson was here. He did a great job. But all of you guys have your own personality and you bring your own strength to the show. So I'm glad to see that you're back. I want to welcome all of our viewers. Again, this is going to be another fascinated edition of Spoon Talk. As always, you're going to enjoy the show. So if you have not shared the show already, please do so. We'll be here for the next 2-3 hours just discussing all things Liberia. We're going to be imparting knowledge to you so that October 10th, you can make the best decision about our country. So join us, and we'll be definitely discussing the issues of the day um, in Liberia. Okay, I guess as Nelson sorts out his camera, I just want to welcome. I think I usually will go straight into him telling us our trending news. But at this moment, I think we'll just welcome some of you. And I'm not going in any particular order. I'm just going to go in just wherever my eyes hit. So I see Diamond is coming back. Much better, Diamond. I can see you clearly. I like the colors. I like colors. I like that yellow in the background. Now we have to work on the sound.
Yeah, I am definitely working on the sound.
It sounds better, but now there's some kind of line on the screen, and you appear to be stuck. He's stuck, Diamond. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead as he sorts it out and just welcome some of you to Spoon. I don't know wherever you are, but I'm here in the US, and it appears that we are going closer to winter, which is not my favorite season at all because it's cold and it gets snowy. Today was a cold day, and it just reminded me of winter on my end of the world. So hopefully we have a couple more, maybe like what, August, September. Summer officially is over in September, so I hope that I have a couple of good days to enjoy the warm weather. Um, but wherever you are, I want to welcome you. This is your station. We speak all things Liberia here. I'm going to start with welcoming Yvonne Garway. She says, "Good evening, my Spoon family. KW Cole is watching from Logbrook, Texas. I hope I pronounced that correctly. He or she is from Texas. Siafa Masale is from Harbel Firestone. Thank you so much for joining us, Harbel. And all of those who are in Harbel, want to give you a special hello from Spoon Talk. Bradley Moore is watching as well. Dorothy Harvey is watching from Drexel Hill, Pennsylvania. Fode Toure is in New York. I hope all is well in New York there. a nice New York City. Actually, New York City is I'm not sure if you're in New York City because New York's a big state, but New York City is a nice place to visit. Waddy Thompson is watching. Jimmy Carmel is also watching. Kelvin is watching from the Dual Community Junction. Hello to all of you who are in living in the Dual Community Junction. Abraham Kone is watching. Philip Freeman is also watching. He says he watches Spoon every day. Thank you so much, Philip Freeman, for watching us every day. Lawrence Gay is also here. Jebe Bakana is watching from Caldwell. Jebe, how are you doing? Hello to all the people in Caldwell. Elu Kana is here from Claratown, Monrovia, Liberia. Elu, thank you very much for being here. Jusa Jusu is also watching. Mahawasan Bishop Mimiaka. I hope I'm pronouncing that name right. I think I did well with the first one, Mahawasan. Good evening to you as well. Agata Smarts is also here. She's watching from Minnesota. Jay Benedicolo Sanda is watching from the UAE, Dubai. Dubai is on my bucket list. I hope that everybody who's in Dubai are doing fine. And thank you for being here, Mr. Benedict Sanda. Ernest Duyan Molba is here watching from the Kingdom of Norway. Oh, wow. Norway. It's really nice having someone from Norway watch us. So thank you for being here. And hello to all of the Liberians and passionate lovers of Liberia who are in Norway. V. Kruma is here from Chickatown community. Thank you for being here. A special shout out to those who are in Chickatown community. George and Williams is also here. He's watching from Asia. Oh, thank you for being here. Oh, someone's watching from Asia. Other Liberians in Asia, I want to tell you guys thank you. Crispino is watching from Japan, I believe. Thank you for joining us. We love it when we have people from around the world join us. William A.K. Sian Jr., he says, Happy Independence Day celebration to us and all. Same to you. Happy 26th. My 26th on you. And I said it first, so nobody should ask me. Tawa Zhu, he or she says, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Please keep up the updates as usual. We definitely will. We'll do our best to keep you updated. Lawrence Gay is here. He's saying that he's JNB strong. Edwin Jalabasi is watching from Philadelphia, not far from me at all, but thank you for joining us. Christian Massa is watching from Crewtown, Bushra Island. Thank you for joining us, Christian. I really appreciate you being here and say a special hello from Spoon Talk to all of the people in Bushra Island, Crewtown. Diamond, are you here? You guys have just left me alone here. Bati is also from Newtown. Thank you for joining us. John O.F. Kampa is also here. Thank you for joining us from Chicken Soup Factory community. So if you live in a Chicken Soup Factory community, thank you for being here. We appreciate you joining us. Tamba Koha is from District 10. He says, Foya, Lufa. Thank you for, I'm sorry. I thought I looked like a 10. It's from Foya District, Lufa. Thank you for joining us, Tamba. Eric Duo is here. Elaine Tutu Sharman is here from Barnesville. I believe that's what it says. Brennanville. Linda P. Suku is here. Good evening, my good people of Spoon. Thank you very much for joining us. We're doing fine. Thanks for asking. And Linda is watching from Johnsonville. If you're in Johnsonville, we want to just tell you a special hello. Join Linda to watch the show. Good. I'm happy you're back because I'm getting tired of talking.
Yeah, Dr. Richardson, am I?
Yes. Oops. We lost you again. Okay, I guess I'll continue to welcome you guys as Diamond gets everything sorted out. And he's going to basically give us our trending news as the panelists as they roll in. So I would like to say hello to Morris Kennedy. He's gazing from the GSA Road, Painesville. Samuel Cully is also here from Red Light. Oh gosh, so many people watching from different places in Monrovia too. I like that. William A. K. Sian Jr. says, Happy Independence Day to all Liberians around the world. Thank you very much, William. Happy 26th to you too. That's one. Okay. That's all right. John Obeli is watching from Stafford, Virginia, USA. He is saying JMB all the way, 2023. Bengali Bility is also watching from Neckley Town Community, I believe. Chuagwe is watching from Red Hill. George N. Williams is also watching. He says, Spoon Show will make Boycott president. Really? Okay, Spoon Show will make Boycott president. We the ANC people will continue to knock on doors. Friendly Cornerware is watching. Amos Buford is watching from Pennsylvania. Another Gay says, Hello, Spoon family. Wanda Rogers is watching from Lincoln Town. Kimberly C. Yampa is watching. He says, Good afternoon, guys, and hope all is well with you. Yes, everything is well. We are blessed. Thank God for today. He's listening and watching from Las Vegas, Nevada. Keep up the good work and always be blessed. Thank you so much. That's such a nice message, Timothy. Thank you very much. Ambassador Comfort Quia is watching from Tuco Road, Harmon Field Community. We would like to say good evening to you as well. You ready, Diamond?
Yeah, Dr. Richardson, can you hear me?
I can hear
Can
you.
you hear me?
Yes, I can. Oh, now I can't hear you. Whatever you did, I can't hear you now. You did something now. I can't hear you. I don't know what you did. No, can't hear you now. No sound now.
Really. Can you hear me now, Dr. Richardson?
No, I can't. I don't know what you're doing, but whatever you're doing now.
All right, so we'll have to make do with this particular camera because the updated one is not working on my computer. Apparently, I need to upgrade the computer, so but we can make do with this one.
That's okay. We'll see you in the dark for a little bit.
I'll try to bring the light closer.
That's okay. We understand. Yes, but thank you for your effort. At least you're trying to make it work. Any trending news? Because I'm tired of welcoming Liberians to our show. I'm sure because I'm just talking, waiting for you to fix the system. But I want to welcome everyone, you guys. Even if I didn't call your name individually, just welcome to the show. Dama is back. He's going to give us some trending news in Liberia. Dama, we missed your trending news. So what's going on in our country?
A lot going on in the country, but before I get to that, let me say thank you to everybody for the warm welcome. I've been away for a while, a lot has been happening in the background, but it's good to be back. And I love to tell you, thank you for the warm welcome. It means a lot, and I appreciate that so much. All of the calls, all of the text messages, and everything. Heartfelt, warmth to all of you. Thank you. A lot of things happening in Liberia, Dr. Richardson. We're aware that 26 is tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And I also went around on the...
I hope you come on 26. Okay.
That is say your color speech from all July 4th, so you should call speech on your 26th too. And I looking.
You pay your debt. Okay.
No, not that, but meat for meat, pound for pound. I'm not saying I'm paying my debt.
Okay.
Yeah. So somebody says, Diamond, were you locked up? No, I wasn't locked up. just to clear. Yeah.
That person gotta be in the United States talking because
Yeah. Yeah. I wasn't locked up. But Dr. Richardson, let's just get straight to it. Today, I got information of an act of honesty. You know, we had the Integrity Act on Mr. Tolu some years back. You know, when he returned the money that he found in Nimba County. Today, similar was done by a motorcyclist. You know, 26th are tomorrow. That's the reason, you know, I mentioned 26 first. But this keke rider called Samuel Sumo, you know, Samuel Sumo today found 2,000 Liberian dollars on the back seat of his keke. And what did he do? Like most of us would have done, would have said, "Oh, I'm a fulfill, I'm a blessing, God feeling blessing me." You know, but what Samuel did was, Samuel behaved like someone from the Bible. He took that money to OKFM, you know, and asked the station to do an SOS call for whoever it is that left the money on the back seat of his keke to come and authenticate, you know, the amount and what denominations and how did they leave it on the back seat of his keke for him to return the person's 2,000 Liberian dollars. So I've labeled this one a few good ones. You know, there are still few good Liberians, you know, those who would treat things with honesty. They wouldn't see one man's demise or one man's pain as their gain. So he returned the 2,000 Liberian dollars. I love to say thank you to you, Samuel Sumo. We should be running after you. We shouldn't wait for people who will return 70, 80, 90,000 US dollars. But even the smallest, this goes to show that if it had been much more than that, you would have still exhibited that level of honesty, you know, to have returned that money. So Samuel Sumo, I love to say thank you. And we look forward to many Liberians exhibiting such level of honesty as well. So Mr. Cummins came out all guns blazing today.
Yes.
And
he told somebody to sit down and shut up.
Yeah, he says, sit down, shut up. I'm like, whoa, ABC, what going on? You know, escalator also and Geo go now. You know, he said, shut up, sit down, shut up. If you want to bring tribalism in this place, you know, shut up.
Yeah.
Let new ideas flow. And this particular speech, I've called it Hot 26. So since it's been raining throughout Liberia, Mr. Cummins decided to heat up the country.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. He decided to heat up the country. So he said, and I quote, "Go sit down. Sit down."
I love it.
But when you listen to that particular speech, there was a piece of the pie for everybody.
Absolutely.
He started off with the government and said the country is on life support. You know, we living on donor funds. The country is economically stagnated. Liberians cannot make ends meet. He went and talked about the cocaine case and a lot of other things. Then he went to the opposition. Wait now, ABC been doing some boxing training.
I love this speech. I'm definitely going to open with this speech. It was awesome. I mean, I was looking to do a pool of chants, and I didn't see anything that I could, you know, really take points off him for. He just delivered well. It was well presented. I call it a message. He presented several messages: message of hope, message of electing the right leader, message of resiliency. You know, there's message of just trusting Liberians to do the right thing. So there's all these different messages in there. So I will talk about it when I'm opening. But thank you. Yes, it was great.
Yeah. So you guys will elaborate more on his speech today. But others have said we're getting closer to election time. So Mr. Cummins now is showing what metal he's made out of. If people thought he's just a subtle, kind of quiet kind of person, no, he can get dirty when it comes to getting dirty. But who was he throwing the tribalism speech at? The tribalism part of his speech. Where was he going? Others have said he was speaking directly to JMB, the standard bearer of the Unity Party. You know, that he's a tribalist. And though Mr. Cummins didn't mention his name, but many people have said that was strictly in the direction of the UP and its standard bearer, just coming off the back of Mr. Ure also accusing the UP of playing tribal politics. Are we sensing something that ABC plus U? Well, you guys will elaborate more on that. Tomorrow, Liberians are eager. You know who's the orator tomorrow?
Well, I think I can guess, but I'll let you tell us. And
Chief Zanzan Kawa,
mm-hmm.
the Chief Zo, the head of the traditional council. But many Liberians are not only eagerly awaiting to hear what Chief Zanzan Kawa has to say, whether they're good English or not, but we want to see how many Liberians are,
Go ahead, Tom.
good English, or not. But Liberians are eager to see how he will appear at the ceremony tomorrow, how he's going to make his entry. You know that our Chief Zo, people expecting that probably he will appear, he will just appear from up and land straight down, or he's going to do something spectacular and disappear and appear. Or better still, he's going to ride his SUV, the khaki looking, brownish looking SUV, and in air condition and come and deliver his speech. But either ways, we want the Chief Zo to do something for us. Yeah. It's been long. We've been hearing stories. People say, oh, he went to Nigeria, they put him in chicken, he rode airplane to go while his friend were flying. So many people are thinking as to whether tomorrow he's just going to show a gist of what he's made up of so that we can stop doubting his powers. But he's going to be the one, delivering the oratory tomorrow. I'm sure he's going to talk about peace, unity. He's going to talk about the upcoming elections. He's also going to talk about our traditional heritage, how we're losing that and all of that. But tomorrow, brace yourselves. It's going to be an interesting, oratory done by Chief Zanzan Kawa. But we want to know how he will appear tomorrow. Yeah, that's what we want to see.
I actually am very, very happy that he's going to be doing the delivery of the speech. I think it shows a sense of diversity. I don't know what he's going to speak about. I don't know how he's going to appear, but I just like the fact that it selected him. But thank you, Diamond. That's interesting.
And my last one to conclude, we need serious visual arts training in our country. We have talented young Liberians, even older Liberians, arts and craft. I remember when I was in Don Bosco back then, arts and craft was compulsory. I had a teacher by the name of Yuri. I've forgotten his first name, but I still remember his surname because we just used to call him Mr. Yuri. Creative skills.
Not the vice president.
No, not Brumtu. No.
Not Jerry, vice president.
No, not Brumtu. If that Brumtu died, Mr. Jerry will know how to drop that way. Not Brumtu.
I was behind you.
Yeah, the reason I'm stressing on this is whoever that sculptor was that made the golden tin man saying he was President Weah at the just recently held Golden Image Award. Mm-hmm. That person needs to answer a question.
I agree.
You saw the statue?
I agree. Oh yeah, I saw it.
Why would you do that? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Why would you do that? You can't face tin man and you say that the president. Who does that?
Have you seen the Wizard of Oz? There's a tin man.
That's the same place I'm coming from.
Oh, okay.
Why you do this? You can't face the thing. That I'm sure the president didn't carry the thing home with him.
Yeah,
even if he did, they just drop it somewhere. Who does this?
Got no resemblance. I don't see it at all.
They did a city to the Prezo Ado community. They had to break that statue down and redo it.
The same look correct.
All right, so from the illustration you can see here that he built roads, he built hospitals. You can see the Labrador map with the roads connecting. I'm just doing the illustration from what I'm seeing.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that was part of the whole.
Yeah. Then he holding the dove in his hand and he's a peaceful man. He represents peace. Then you see the other hand pointing to the Labrador map, say, this is what I've delivered to you. Good roads and hospitals and all that. But amen.
No.
This sculptor should answer a question.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So you heard about the country blow that saved the Kung Fu today?
No, you own Dama. What happened to Country Bro?
You know, Country Blow.
Yeah, what happened?
Yeah. Country Blow saved Kung Fu. Yeah.
Okay.
The Liberian Coast Guard was able to rescue a Chinese ship that was, attacked and hijacked by pirates in Sierra Leone. So,
Oh.
Country Blow Liberians, our Country Blow went to rescue the Kung Fu people.
So got power small. We got small power.
Oh yeah, we're able to.
Rescue? Did we do well?
It was successful. We were able to have rescued 23 crewmen, including. Yeah. So if you ever talk Country Blow, only from West Point and Nukuta and didn't know, our Coast Guard did us justice and saved Kung Fu. So I know what the Chinese people were doing with all their Kung Fu. They started their, pirate scheme and took over their vessel, and they needed Liberians to come and help them. So kudos to the Liberian Coast Guard, the armed forces of Liberia. The hijacked vessel was rescued somewhere around King Gray in Liberian waters after a coordinated, rescue mission by the Liberian Navy, the Sierra Leonean Navy, and their Ivorian counterparts. But the Liberians did much of the work. They received suppressive fire. They returned fire according to the Ministry of National Defense. Yeah. 3 of the pirates boarded a raft and escaped. 2 went into compartments in the ship. They're still looking for them. And then 2 were arrested and subsequently brought to Liberia. But the vessel is here at Coast Guard base. The Chinese national and the Sierra Leoneans, there were 17 Sierra Leoneans on board, and the rest were Chinese. And so, Country Blow today saved the day. But the scary part of this is just one of many vessels. How protected are our territorial waters? Wow. It's a good one that we can celebrate one. But how many have passed through the net that we've not been able to nab to know what's happening? But kudos again to our Coast Guard. We appreciate you guys. It shows that if you have the right and the needed support, you can do more to protect our territorial waters. That's why I rest at Richards. And so when somebody show Country Blow to you, Kung Fu is here. Thank you. Thank you.
You are too much. Tama is too much, I swear. Thank you so much for making me laugh. There we go. Oh God, we knew for something. We saved the ship.
We saved the Chinese, yeah. Mm-hmm. The Chinese and the Bobone. We saved 2 of them.
Oh God. All right. Mr. Gibson Jr., welcome so much to the show. Dama here, he now come back in high gear. Yeah, so Dama want to welcome you in high gear. You're just making everything spicy and juicy here for us. Don't forget this other Kung Fu and Country Blow story. In fact, I will repeat that to
it was so nicely put.
He put a title to all his story there.
Yeah, Country Blow save Kung Fu. We don't want to.
Look at you. Look at you. You sound just Chinese man. Oh, no, you have to kill me today. So, Mr. Gibson, I want to just welcome you to the show. I'm glad we have Diamond back. Nelson was just as great. They all come with their own personality, their own, little gift to the show lesson. So I love them. I love how you guys present. But what's on your mind, Mr. Jiru? I'm talking about Mr. Cummings' speech, but I'll give you an opportunity to tell us.
I really want to learn more about the Cummings telling the person to sit down. I really want to learn more about it because I think it will be the first example of people shutting tribalists down. So I'd like to learn more about that.
Yes, I'm actually looking for this speech right here, so I can tell you the area in which he talked about it, but it was just really, really nice. I can probably send you a copy of the speech later on,
Right.
but
Absolutely. Mhm.
it was a really, really well done speech. He sounded very presidential. He spoke very well. He sounded like he was ready to fight for the Liberian people. I mean, like Dharma said, there was a message of the reality. He talked about the reality of Liberia, saying that we are old, but then we are poor at the same time. We were actually a beacon of hope in the world at one time. We older than Singapore, we older than Israel, we older than Ghana, but yet and still we are so poor.
Right.
So he did talk about. That's the message of reality. He says the reason why we're poor is basically corruption, uh, investors not coming to the country. Things family have broken down. People are just, serious face. When you look at it, one of the things I do, I look at people's faces in Liberia. It says a lot, and I take pictures of faces in Liberia. It says a lot. People are just, people who you grew up with. Their facial, expression have changed over the years. We don't take care of the way how people used to put flowers up, 26th day, the flags up, and all of this flag day. We don't do all of those things. I mean, he didn't put that in the speech. He just said homes are broken down. He
Right.
said that our health system is a disgrace. He said that our education system is a mess. He said that our justice system is a joke. I like that line too. The healthcare system is a disgrace. The education system is a mess. The justice system is a joke. And then there was a message of leadership. He said the reason why our country, and I'm of course paraphrasing him, the reason why our country is the way it is because of leadership. We are is incompetent. He doesn't know what he's doing for the country. He's a divisive. He has a divisive government. He's irresponsible, and he talked about us losing our way. How come we were once the beacon of hope? We're a country that has some kind of direction, but now we seem lost as a country. We don't even know where we're going. This is my words now. I'm interpreting, paraphrasing,
Mhm.
like
Mhm. Yeah.
back. So, and then he talked about the resources. He wants to be a leader that will make our resources available to everyone. Something that Mr. Cummings usually, horn on is we have good weather, good land. We have natural resources, iron ore, diamond, gold, bucks. Well, I'm not sure about bauxite, but I'm adding that. I mean, it just says natural resources,
I think
but
we do have bauxite.
yeah, I would tell you, and deviating a little bit, we have a farm in Wiala, right? And the road are being used all the time. I used to see cars just passing on the road, big trucks. And I couldn't figure out for the life of me what they were doing. How were they going behind there? It was mostly the Chinese people were going behind there. And I didn't get to go behind there, but the people in the town told me that they would get some kind of rock. I'm sure it was one of our mineral. I don't know if it was diamond, but they would get something from our land and they were taking it away all the time. They didn't even know what it was, but they would go back there a lot of times. I kept on seeing this big truck going back, and I was like, what is all the way behind, in the Wiala area? He talked about electing the right leadership and Liberians having the right mindset to elect the right leadership. So I like how he put, talk about our mindset. There's something that is going on with the Liberian mindset that we tend not to elect people who we think can do the job. We go for things like popularity. We go for things like, people who can dress well, people who got good football skill. We don't really think about, who's going to bring development to our country. He talked about the reason why he's running. He wants to stop corruption. He wants to stop mismanagement. He, as the fixer, wants to fix our school, healthcare and the economy, fix hospital. So, like, he used the word fix in those things, like fix hospital, fix the school, because obviously he is known as Fixer 1 and Fixer 2. Lastly, it was the message of hope. He says Liberia is down right now, but he believes, he's very, very hopeful that we'll rise one day, which I like. I have the same kind of hope. This is why I come here every day to talk, because I strongly believe that Liberia will rise. I mean, not during my generation, maybe my children's generation, maybe my grandchild's generation, but we got to keep pushing on, got to keep pressing on. And he recognized that we are resilient type of people. You know, we are not people who just want to lay down and let things happen to us. I mean, we have the fighting spirit inside of us. But he said that we can stop tribalism and dialect, all this conversation about dialect, and focus on everybody being equal citizen of Liberia, everybody getting a piece of the pie of Liberia, instead of focusing on divisive politics, like, oh, this person can't speak dialect, this person belongs to this tribe. He said no, he doesn't like any of that. So with the right mindset and leadership, we can fix Liberia. And then he kind of ended says by saying that if we do not fix Liberia, who will? The question he left to Liberia. If we do not fix Liberia, who will? If we do not fix it now, when are we going to fix it? So I thought it was an awesome speech. There was a lot of lines in there for that will last with the Liberian people. And Jerry, I'm going to send you I'll send you the speech. Yeah, but yeah, so that's go ahead.
You know, I look forward to the day that Councillor Gonglo and Mr. Cummings will go one-on-one, and we have JMB and George Weah out of the picture. These are the two bad apples we have in the election. George Weah is the nemesis of Liberia's problem, Liberia's development issue, Liberia's progress. This is a government that has neglected its responsibility. But JMB doesn't even add anything better to the discourse. He will be worse. His government will be 5 times corrupt more than George Weah's government. And I'm looking to the day Liberians will look through all of this and say, you know what, we'll take Councillor Gonglo and Cummings to the ballot bags, and then we can make a real choice of people who are policy driven, people who are issues driven, instead of, oh, I am popular, or I have a birthright to be president by all means because I was vice president before, or, oh, I have a right to go second term because other people went second term. No, nobody has a birthright to the presidency. George Weah does not have the birthright to go second term. It's not his. He doesn't own it. Okay, so he can be one term and leave and go sit down with his 18 units and go that he built in 6 months. Let him go enjoy it. If anybody wins Cummings or Gonglo, definitely we're going to go after those properties and ask him how he got those properties. Look, I'm very serious. If Councillor Gonglo was not in the race, Cummings was my next choice, because I don't see how. Yeah, likewise. I don't see how in this life that I, Gibson, can opt for George Weah or opt for JMB. They are not even closer to lesser of evil. They are not even closer to that. But when you say these things, the people of Liberia, when they make up their mind on certain things, they don't care. They do not evaluate the people they are putting in power. But I told a group of people the other day, on the field, the Liberian people, if Liberian votes for George Weah, they have confirmed and affirmed the secret killings that have taken place in the country. They acquiesce the lack of innovation, the lack of employment, the lack of social development, economic development in the country. They acquiesce it. And worse than that, if they vote for JMB, they are definitely sending a message to all. They say, we don't care about vibrancy. We don't care about alertness. We don't care about policy driven. We want to put somebody there who will be sitting down and other people be working around you. In good conscience, I don't know how Liberian in good conscience can choose either George Weah or JMB. And we have to distinguish our candidate. The other day, I talked to Councillor Gonglo. I said, look, I might differ with Cummings sometimes if he says something, but I'm not going to go against Cummings because besides Gonglo, in my choice, Cummings is one of the best. All I think they say about him, I don't care about all the things they say about him. We're looking for people who who are policy driven, people who can direct the country, people who can put their feet down and say, this is what I was very interested in they telling the someone, say, shut up and sit down. If you want
Sama,
to
can
bring
you
up
find that part of the speech? Sama, do you have the speech?
Well, I have to see if I can
I think it was just, I think it was something that popped up. Somebody was saying something and it just popped
Yeah,
up.
actually, I have. I read it when I was reading the speech. I saw it, but that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to find that line for you. Oh yes, yes. So this is he was talking about
if you know when we were
about
going to school those days, Dr. Richardson, when we were going to school these days, when we used to follow Larry Toba, Ezekiel Pajibo, Komine Wise, Deacon Carlo, those were our mentors. Councilor Tiawanse Gonglo, all of these people, they used to go on the campus. I was the president of the Nipo Junior High, and we used to be in the vanguard. When they say demonstration, we lead the demonstration from the student perspective. But one thing they used to tell us, when you want to choose a leader, ask yourself a question. Is this person an ideal representation of the change I want, of the progress that I wish for? If your answer is no, say no to that person. That is what Liberians lack. They just want to vote for somebody because they want the person popular. If we follow popularity, then there's no need for to remove Joshua. Let's leave Joshua there because Joshua is popular. If that is what we want. But if we want someone who is policy driven, someone who has their head on their shoulder, who knows what they are looking for, who has a prescription of how we can proceed out of this quagmire, proceed out of this quagmire, this mess that this ignoramus have created for us. And we want people, then let's send Councilor Gonglo and Alexander Cummings to the runner-up and let Liberian make a real good choice of who actually will be able to lead this country. But if it is popularity that we are looking for, oh, he was vice president, he will be in government for the 2 years, therefore you're getting the chance to be president. That's not how I want to do my business.
No,
that's not how I want Liberians to choose. In fact, I'm waiting. After some time, I will tell the boys in my house, any of the people that I have direct responsibility for, if you vote for certain people, I will sanction you for 1 year. You'll not get $5 from me.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of people say that. I want to welcome Amula Mohammed to the show. Amula, welcome. We have not seen you for a little bit. All is well with you.
Let me pause a little bit.
Yeah, Mr. Gibson, and then we'll go to Amula. We were talking about Mr. Cummings' speech today. You know what? Actually, what surprised me a lot is well-meaning people who have been exposed, educated, I believe, Liberians. Instead of looking for what is in the best interest for Liberia, they still tend to go with this trend of popularity or this is our time mentality for election. And I can't see, like you said, I always wonder, how do you guys arrive at that? And for me, it is about my country. It is not about my personal relationship with a leader. It is not about, popularity. I don't care. I want, like you said, somebody who's policy driven, somebody who can begin to put our country back on a path of success. Because right now, as Mr. Cummings rightfully said, we are lost. People don't realize it until you get out of Liberia. We are completely lost. There's no direction. And the more that we have the type of government we are government, we will continue to go backward. We will continue to degenerate because it's all about corruption. And yes, when a president takes someone from an entertainment business and make them head of the airport, there's no other assumption to make but the assumption that he doesn't know what he's doing. That's the only assumption that anybody can make. So for me, that's what surprises me, that instead of us who are somewhat exposed, educated, or whatever, selecting people that will move our country out of this stuck position. We We're not. So Ambula, I'm sorry. I'd like to just kind of hear your thoughts. I don't know if you read the speech or you heard the speech. We're just told Mr. Cummings' speech. Um, for now, your thoughts.
Yeah, thank you. I've not read the speech. It's good to be joining you all back, Gibson and Diamond. Just been a little bit of work in the back end, so we couldn't show up. But we're very committed to coming every day, every time we have the time to come. Regarding the speech, uh, I've not read the speech. I don't expect anything significantly different, from the normal trend of criticizing what George Weah is doing, which is good, and giving hope and aspiration for the future. Talking about corruption and bad governance, I know the speech will cover that. George Weah has dosed the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf administration for bad governance, so he takes that credit. They can talk about corruption, talk about killing of people who disagree, in terms of the number of people who allegedly died as a result of this agreement between Weah and Ellen Weah. He does that as well. So I expect all those messages. But coming to think about it, these things did not start in 2017 after Weah.
Yes, he mentioned that.
They started ever since.
Yes, he
It's
mentioned
been
that.
a historical issue. It's been a perennial problem we've been solving, we've been trying to solve, and we've been failing over time to solve those problems. Some of the people like Mr. Cummings who speak loudly now today, I'm not to criticize his position. I support almost everything he said in his statement against the Weah administration and the hope for the future. I agree with them. I support those positions. But these are things that have been happening for decades.
Yes, I agree.
But people like Mr. Cummings who now have this love and desire to change the system remain silent. But these things were happening. That's why we say sometimes we want to give more listening ears. It gave bigger space around the table to people who have historical and consistent position on how our country moved from bad to worse. How do we end corruption? How to create jobs? How do we ensure good governance? How do we ensure freedom? People who have had consistent position on how we move our country forward. We want to hear them more. We want to give them bigger seat around the table. Based on their experience, based on their interaction, and based on their track record of consistent commitment to moving our country forward. We want to give them more chance. People can argue, so no, you say somebody just coming. No, it's not about just coming. We are in America. I'm in the United States. Gibson is here. I work for International Development Organization. I lead country programs in Africa. I lead USAID largest resilience food security project in Africa.
Impressive.
But we come here to speak to our people. We are concerned about happiness in our country, regardless of, by the special grace of God, portfolio we have. We are concerned about how our country move forward. But others had similar or even greater roles. They remain silent about the foreign matters of our country. Somebody could argue that your silence is a form of complicity. Your silence is a form of endorsement. So yes, to conclude on Mr. Cummings' speech, we agree with everything he said. The criticism against the George Weah administration, the possibilities for the future, we agree with those possibilities. But we are saying the message is sounding strange. The message is sounding strange. The messenger is appearing strange. So we're taking more time to process what's the motivation behind these messages. And that's why we say people who are being consistent at their own Congo and committed with this same message of change. It has not changed for over 30 years. Let's give them time. Let's give them more listening ears. Let's give them bigger seat around the table. That's how we start.
Yeah. And I agree with you, Mame. I believe that Liberia should get to the place, as Mr. Jerry was, and I was talking, where we bring policy-driven people who have a plan, a vision. It's not about people who are popular or people who are playing sports, or people who believe that this is our time, or people who believe in tribalism and all of those different divisiveness. I actually, if I didn't support Cummings, Miss Miss Councilor Gongo's ticket looks very prosper, looks very attractive. It's kind of in line with some of my world views. But Liberia is an interesting place. And when I say that, because we the establishment of our country alone, leaves us with a lot of baggages in in our coffer, in our closet. So it's very hard sometimes when we start pinpointing who's right or who's wrong, who have done something consistently. The one you talk about, one of the things I bring up with him, and he knows it, I'm sure. Even though, again, I like his message, I like him. Taiwan's sister, Edith, was superintendent of Lima County, and there was stories about corruption. What I didn't hear Taiwan speak about that. Councilor, I'm sorry, I'm calling Taiwan because I feel like I know him. Councilor Gongo speak about that. Okay, and Councilor Gongo, I know I don't want to discuss how I'm connected to him, but Councilor Gongo, which I don't share too much on this show, Councilor Gongo was connected very highly, very strongly to Sawyer, Emma Sawyer. Okay, so if we need to talk about, what he said or what he didn't say, who he's connected to, that could be something that a weakness on his part. He was connected to an establishment. What did he say then? What did it change? So those are questions that we can ask. But again, I pretty much like his view. I like his personality. I like how he presents, and it wouldn't deter me to give him a seat at the table if I had the choice to make that decision.
Dr. Richardson, I beg, Mr. Jerry, sorry for that. I know you guys are in your speech talking about Mr. Cummings' deliberation today, but there was something that I missed, and I really want to share on the show quickly.
Mm-hmm.
We all did see the portion of the road in Broadville that got cut due to the rain and the road condition being dilapidated. So the Ministry of Public Works has accused Western Cluster of spoiling the road. There is a letter to that effect. In fact, they are cited to a meeting on the 28th of this month to go and discuss how they are going to contribute Western Cluster. In fact, in the letter, I know you guys will discuss it today as well. They said your operations, have led to the road, I'm paraphrasing now, getting destroyed, and also bringing about the disruption to the movement of people and economic activities coming to a standstill. So Western Cluster now has been accused by the Ministry of Public Works of being the one, due to their heavy lifting, their use of the road, their heavy equipment, their trucks, causing the road to damage as it is. They've also suspended their road user permit until they can come up with how best to find alternative ways for them to transport their ore or whatever mining activities they're involved with. But the key question here is, when did we realize? That is our problem. One of our many problems in this country. We are always reactionary. We are not proactive.
Absolutely.
When things happen, then we come out and say, oh, you caused it. But when they were going for the road user permit, before you issue a permit, I'm not in the issuance of permit business, but I know you have to do due diligence. You're looking at the age of the road, how long that road has been in use. You're looking at the equipment, the truck, the tonnage of those trucks that are going to be used on the road. and you compare all of that and do your due diligence whether this is feasible or not. So how was that road user permit given to Western Cluster? That now you coming back to accuse them of being the ones to destroy the road. Having accused them, what is going to be the next alternative? Are you going to say, oh, repair the road and still continue using the road? Or is there going to be another conversation as to how now they can transport their heavy lifting equipment and every other thing that they use that has contributed, to the road getting spoiled? And one last thing again, Dr. Richardson, a couple of weeks back, I did see the construction of crossroad billboards. It's advantage points. One is just in Congo Town before the Korean church. There is another one along before you get to Boulevard Junction. They erecting others along the road, especially the Tottenham Boulevard. When you look at the kind of metals that are being used, the pipes and all of those things to put those crossroad billboards, then it raises the question: are we using these materials for the right purpose? If you look at Boulevard Junction, that's a major crossing point. While we're waiting for the overhead bridge and the roundabout in the sky and the full layer, interchange, are we looking at the safety of our people when they're crossing roads? Like one example, 540. All the heavy metals and everything we're using to put billboards up for advertising holdings, could we use them to build at least a temporary overpass that people can walk over to cross the road that will be safe? And you can still put advertising holdings on those things when you construct them.
Wow.
You can still do that. Instead of using all these things for campaign and all those kind of stuff, if we're using that to the right purpose and say, okay, look at 540, people cross the road down there, on a very large proportion. They're crossing in front of cars and all of those things. What if we erect an overhead bridge that people can use to cross? And you can still put your campaign messages on those stuff. You'll be saving lives, and you will also be serving your purpose of your campaign messages and all of that in your advertising holding. So those were just the two things that I left out and I decided to share. So I'm not going to get involved in your speech conversation. You guys can continue from there. So I just thought to share this too.
Thank you for, and about the road, I'm sure, excuse me, Mr. Jerry has something to add to that, is that, the people have been complaining about the trucks for months, like you said, we're not proactive. We tend to be reactive. I remember we had a couple of shows discussing, the trucks and how the people were saying that in Bomi was saying that the trucks were heavy, they were destroying the road. But, again, we're waiting for something to happen before we do anything. And even I'm glad they stopped them from using the road, but did they fix the road? I saw a picture where they just put some rocks in the hole and stuff like that. I mean, as opposed to digging it up and putting a cover, and again, I'm not an engineer, but I can see at least when something isn't done right. But again, I mean, I feel badly for the people of Bomi. But Mr. Jerry, did you have any thoughts about what Dama said?
I will come to the road in a little bit, but I just want to crack a joke. The those on the comment line, they are so funny. They say Dr. Richardson is just agreeing with everything I say.
They are. They are.
And the other one say, I fought war and I'm still here. Look, I'm a crown man. I wish I fought war, and I would have proudly told people I fought war. I really love to have done that. I tried 2 times. My mother stopped me. My sister stopped me. The third one, Italian journalist stopped me. So I regretted why I didn't fight the war, because it was necessary for the crown man to hold a gun to fight against the enemy. But unfortunately, I didn't do that. So don't accuse me. Keep saying it. Keep saying it. But look, right now, I just wanted to say something about, I don't want to kill the messenger right now, but I want to go back to Cummings' speech. He said something here that I want to capture on before I go to the role. He said, homes are breaking down, families are falling apart, children are forced to become breadwinners as drugs and crimes take over our street. We have been discussing on this platform several times about Kush, how people take the Kush, they're knocking their head. The government is seeing those videos. The government, some time ago, President George Weah launched a $13 million fund drive to take the what we call ZOCO, and say youth in challenge youth, to take them from the street. And the first 2 million that came, they ate that money and not do exactly what they said they were going to do. Recently, George Weah and his government lost a $100 million drug case. They ended up refunding the money of those drug peddlers and drug dealers. And it left Liberians to wonder, whether this government knows exactly what is happening to our young people with the drug issue. So it is a great point that the German raised, that Mr. Cummings raised. I mean, what I have issue with Cummings past, what I have issue with, but I don't want to kill the messenger at this time. I want to take the message and use the message in a wise way. George Weah, I can tell you, if you gave George Weah a second term, what we see now will be worse, because he will have nothing to defend. He will not be thinking about second term. He will not be thinking about election, and he will be reckless, and he will do anything he wants. In fact, not just that he will steal more money because he no longer scares any coming election, because he now in his last term, but he will collaborate with drug dealers. I mean, it is a pity that a $100 million drug case can be lost by the government because of careless prosecutorial action. Careless prosecutorial action. This is something that we all Liberians need to think about. Our children are in the street today. We see our children knocking their head when they take the Kush. They're knocking their head, knocking their head, knocking their head. Some of them, they will stand, they won't go fall. Some of them fall, they say when you fall, then you die. Why is it that this government lack the willpower to at least make an effort to do something about the drug? How can we not set up a robust team of security at our endpoint, the Robert International Airport, our waterway? Because I remember when I used to be a journalist, the police took me to Nickertown, where people used to take their drugs. They bring it through the they said no, the St. Paul River, and use the cannon to bring it all the way to Nickertown, and then from Nickertown they spray all part of Liberia. And we went there. There was a drug bust. All of these places, we need security. All of these places, unfortunately, this government doesn't get it, and I don't think they deserve a second term. And it will continue to give them George Weah a chance to be there. We are just allowing ourselves, we are acquiescing all his bad deeds, all his incompetencies, and everything that he is doing right now. The issue of the road, I hope the issue of the road we will raise, we'll talk about it more in this broadcast today, because it is more important. For me, I got fundamental questions. Before, in fact, the other issue that will come up very soon has to do with the environmental impact assessment that most of the companies are not following. But right in Liberia, every year an environmental impact study is supposed to be conducted, and those companies are supposed to submit that to the government to make sure that they are not polluting the air, their machines are not passing out the carbon dioxide, they are not breaking down waterways, they are not poisoning waterways, they are not doing all of these things every year. That will be the next thing that we'll be seeing later. But then, before you lessen the people, before you get a full license, did they not tell you what they were going to use? Did they not tell you that they have yellow machine that will be driving on the quota to go all the way to Bombay? You can just imagine.
And Jerry, I don't want to interrupt you. I'm thinking about the company in Bombay fighting this in a lawsuit, because, like you were saying, if they have a legal contract that says that they can use the road, because stopping them from using the road kind of stopped them from doing their production, their work.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Yeah. So I won't be surprised if they took Liberian government to court.
But the Western cluster, this is a catch for those who have seeing the Western Cluster concession agreement. They do not have responsibility to go and sue in a Liberian court. They can take the arbitration to London. Take the arbitration up to England. Let me just say England. It could be London. It could be any of the states or cities in London, in England. They could take the arbitration, and Liberia will have to go there because the concession agreement stipulates that if the concessionaire has an issue with the violation of the concession agreement terms and terms, they have the right to take an issue at the arbitration. And arbitration, usually the arbitration they go to, they are in the favor of the company. Liberia had lost many arbitration in the past. So if they think that Western Cluster will go to the court here to go sue here, they may not go there. They might go to the arbitration, and then if they win, you're going to pay what they lost. But how did the government not know that these people would be driving their D9, D7 yellow machine through the water and bombing? They'll be having the 16 tire trucks. The trailers will be driving there with huge tonnage, and then you think that they will not destroy the road. That road is very old. I think somebody said. I think Diamond said that road is very, very old. It's being constructed since
that road as a child.
Yes, somebody constructed that road long time, and it's gone. Even if you look at it where it got broken, you can see that the dirt is mixing with the asphalt right now. It is a very thin asphalt layer. And so, look, I think we should discuss them more and more and bring realization and light to this.
Sure. Yes. Thank you. I want to welcome Mr. Johnson. Welcome to the show. We missed seeing you in the past couple of days. So glad to have you back. Mama, is there anything else you'd like to add? Just talking about what's on your mind.
I wanted to add to the road issue he was talking about, because it's just a small piece of a whole big problem. What the government did with Edwin Snow and others, allowing Western Cluster to operate on an MOU and not a mineral development agreement, have not been spoken about lengthily. What happened was, and that's what we're experiencing and we experience more of, is as a consequence of our failure to stick to the mineral development agreement. I want to point to specific sections of the mineral development agreement. The mineral development agreement in section 5 required, and that's the reason why Western Cluster did not receive the Class A license to begin operation under the Sirleaf administration, because the Western Cluster did not meet the requirements in the mineral development agreement. That's why they did not receive the license. If you see, they kept saying we spend money, we stay long in the country, we did not receive the Class A license. Every Snow was heralding that Western Cluster spend money, they spend long time in the country, they did not receive the Class A license. There was a reason why they did not receive the Class A license. Section 5 of the Mineral Development Agreement requires that before the Class A license is issued to the company, the company must present a job and skill development plan that is basically on how do we employ people. The company must sign an environmental restoration funding agreement and deposit that environmental fund. The environmental restoration funding agreement is an agreement that says when we cause any environmental problem, we will be responsible. But in the process of responsibility, you'll be required to deposit X amount of money within the government account. So just in case you create those environmental problems, they don't need to wait for you to raise money. They will move on that fund to be able to address the problem while they investigate. That was one of the requirements. The second requirement was around project linkage plan and around the construction of a railroad to move the iron ore from Bombing to Monrovia. Because Western Cluster was not in the position at the time to meet all these requirements with the government, as required in the MDA. That's why they did not receive their license. When they were coming back, they smartly told the government to revert to an MOU rather than coming to the existing MDA. Because if they had used the MDA to come back, they would have still been confronted with meeting these requirements.
Of course, yes.
So smartly, what they did was, exactly, because you have a mineral development agreement. If you want to come back to the country, just come back and activate your mineral development agreement.
All right.
But they opted not to come back on the mineral development agreement because they do not want to meet these environmental regulations.
Yep, they don't want to be held accountable.
Exactly. So they use Edwin Snow and other people to draft an MOU. And in the MOU, what the MOU says is the MOU suspends all these environmental regulations.
Yes.
And
isn't it a way for us to get amount of money too?
Yes.
They waive us on I remember
they waived on the money. They waived on the money. They technically suspended all these environmental. The only requirement set in the MOU for Western Cluster and the government to exchange license is the government must present the license to Western Cluster, and Western Cluster must make the initial payment she promised to make. So it was only about money. Found the MOU. Nothing in the MOU set any environmental regulations. Wow. They were all about money. If the government provides the license to Western Cluster will receive the Class A license. So it's a whole big thing. How can we get this company back to the mineral development agreement that is signed with the government? Because MOU does not oversee mineral development agreement.
Correct.
Why are we all sitting just silent, allowing them to exploit the country?
Mindset and government.
So that was my addition to the topic.
Good point. Thank you. Mr. Johnson, is there anything you'd like to add or tell us what's on your mind today? We had been discussing, we were discussing Mr. Cummings' speech, and then we are now, talking about the road, the problem in Bomi and the company in Bomi. But you can talk, feel free to add anything you want to add.
All right, thank you. Dr. Chinwe, Mami, Gibson. Let me say good evening to every one of you and good evening to the great people of Liberia. And it's a pleasure to be here again. I know almost like 3 days now not being here. We've been too much engaged with community outreach from the angle of Dr. Clarence Pehe Monimba and Dr. Madam Grace Stickman. And the network at times have been giving me some problem. But again, it's a pleasure to be here. Like you said, first, let me say happy pre-independence to every one of you on the platform tonight and to the great people of our country. And even though we are not to that extent satisfied with the governance and the foreign manner, and I have consistently asked myself and even posted as to what are we celebrating as a country. After 175 years of national political independence, there should be a national question that every one of us must retrospect on as to what the Liberian people will be celebrating tomorrow. Are we just celebrating age as a country? Are we celebrating development? Are we celebrating bad governance? Are we celebrating ritualistic killings? Are we celebrating ineptness in the governance system of the country? Are we celebrating a kind of a governance process that every one of us on this platform may not agree with one way or the other? And Dr. Chinwe Mame and Dr. Gibson are just here for in the ring. And if you see the condition of our people, few hours to the independence of our country, you will feel sick. You feel very disheartening. You feel terrible. You feel extremely discouraged about a country that we all must be proud of. And I think this is not the kind of a country that we deserve as Liberians. And I would want to tell the Liberian people, I think there are justifiable reasons why the Liberian people must make their way to the pool on October 10th. There are
Absolutely.
justifiable reasons. As we speak to you, people are still languishing in the various streets, cannot even find a daily meal for their children tomorrow before you talk about even clothes. But we got a few group of individuals in our country. Today, they are masquerading the corridor of political power. They don't want to know about the ordinary people. And this is extremely embarrassing for our country. A country of 175 years. Few hours from now, we will be hitting 176 years.
Yes.
It must be a concern to every one of us. That is the reason why when we call for an opposition unity, we know in these first rounds, we will have all of the disagreement, all of the policies. And that's why I've always said to all of us on this platform that I think the soul bullet must be directed to the ruling establishment that have provided gross ineptness, gross incompetence, that have not managed the state resources of our country, where few group of people are just enjoying state resources. And it is extremely discouraging. So for me, I think this is a time that we must all rethink. And this celebration must be about a reflection of our past, a reflection of our presence, and where do we intend to go as a country. So again, I want to tell the Liberian people happy pre-independence, but I think it is something that we must all reflect on. Where do we intend to go? And that's what birthday is meant for. Even in our personal life, you reflect on your past, you think about your presence, and you start to meditate on your future. I think that is what birthday are meant for. So my biggest questions tonight to the Liberian people is, what are we celebrating as a country after 175 years of national political independence? I think that's where I stop now for my opening statement.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Johnson. So, you kind of transition us into a great discussion as we wait for the other panelists to join us. We in a few hours will be 176 years old. Where do we go from here? That's what the Liberian people need to know. So that's the question I have for all three of you. Where do we go from here? Where does Liberians, where do they go from here? So Mr. Gibson Jr., where do we go from here? Where should we start?
The fate of Liberians is right in their hands. It's almost like you have a bird in your hand. You can decide the life of the bird. You can either squeeze it to death, or you open your hands and the bird fly away. That's what it looks like now. Liberia is in the hands of Liberians. It depends on what kind of decision they make during this election period. If they decide to choose mediocrity over competence and qualification, then they have themselves to blame in the end. If they decide to choose competence, qualification, policy-driven, rule of law, then that decision they make, they will enjoy the fruit of their decision. It is almost like an opportunity cost. You have a whole list of things that you want to do. Instead of putting your rent up there as the number one in your opportunity, in your chart, you decide instead of paying the rent, you go to drink, to buy liquor. Well, if you buy liquor, your rent will not be paid, and they will put you outside.
Absolutely.
Liberia, we are at a threshold of either to be doomed or to resurrect. The decision that our people make at the ballot box will determine whether it is Prince Johnson going to be the godfather of the JMB administration, whether George Weah continue his second term and pillage the country, and siphon all the funds, get all the money to himself, enrich himself, his ministers, and family get rich and richer, and the rest of the poor become poor, or they choose a more pragmatic, policy-driven law enforcement and someone who has the ability to try to change the trajectory of the country in a person like Councillor Gonglo. They either do that or they choose the doom that the country is headed. So we are headed at a crossroad. We are at a crossroad. We either choose to be good, to progress, to be like the other countries, to insert ourselves in the community of nations, and people look at us as a responsible government, or we say, you came a man, you came a power, I will vote for you. Oh, you have for the you got for the 2 years in government, therefore you must be president.
Yeah.
Oh, you have run up the other time that your time to be president. Oh yeah. So you, George Weah, you deserve your second term. Everybody can get second term, so your lean ain't get a second term, then you'll come. Those are comments that when it come to me, it boils my blood because it means our people don't know what they still want.
Yes.
And we are here to help you. You need to make a decision, not just for you, but for your children and your children's children. Yes. And we should all fight. We should fight days and night. They can come here and call me devil. They can call me ugly. They can call me bad. They can call me all kinds of names. They are just wasting water on dogs' back. I'm not fine like Mame, or I'm not fine like Samuel. Fine. I'm just scared. So,
Yes,
so
yes.
they can say all I want there. They're not going to discourage me because I'm going to tell you that the person you want to be elected is not the best person for our country. I know it. You will regret. I know it. That you will regret later because we told them that George Weah was not the candidate. But they elected George Weah. Now they are regretting. They are now regretting so bad that they want to put another George Weah in the seat. Please, if you're making your decision, think about what Councillor Gonglo has always said. He wants to be your project manager and package your project and deliver your project. I'd like to pause here.
Yes. So, my man, the same question goes to you. You know, what's next for Liberians? You know, where do we go from here? We are here with a government that is irresponsible, divisive, incompetent. Where do we go from here? Speak to the Liberian people.
Where we go from here, the primary agenda, the next step to take is to make a determination before we even take that step. That determination is, do we want to go forward? Do we want to remain where we are? Or do we want to go backward? Electing George Weah will take us backward. Electing George Weah will take us backward. The evidence just so much. And it is not so much of the burden, is not so much on, he doesn't want to build road, he doesn't want to build school, he doesn't want to, improve healthcare. It's just that he's not able. He's not able. I know George Weah. I worked with George Weah. I sat many times around the same table with George Weah at his house, on his basketball court, before becoming president.
But, Mommy, I don't want to disrupt your thought, but I want to hold you right where you are. What do you mean by he's not able?
I mean, there are many explanations about his inability. One is the fundamental problem we face is corruption. He's not able to fight corruption. And the reason why he's not able to fight corruption, because either accidentally or for some reason, he himself now is swimming in the pool of corruption. So he's not able to fight corruption. He wants to do it, but no way. If you elect him, will go backward. I can give you an example. When the US government indicted the passport director and sanctioned him, in less than 2 days, the grand jury of Liberia indicted him for prosecution through our courts. And the reason why George Weah administration allowed the courts to indict him, the justice administration to indict him, is because George Weah knew nothing about the passport, small passport thing that he was doing.
Wow.
So he said, there you go and prosecute him. No problem. But when the US government sanctioned McGill and sanctioned Bill Twaway, he has taken no action. He wants to do it, but he can't do it. Because if he goes ahead and prosecute McGill, he will be exposing himself.
That's why I hear.
So when I say he's not able, that's an example. And across different examples around corruption, he's not able to. Whether it's from the past administration, George Weah will not prosecute people from the past administration. Because while he was in opposition, he was living on them. That's one example. Forget about fighting corruption. Talk about entering into discussion and laying your country's agenda forward and attracting investment and making people to see reason in what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
He's not able. He wants to do it. He tried when he brought Ibomaf, he brought Eton. Everything turned out to be scam. He was not doing it because he wanted to scam. He wanted to really bring, people to build a coastal highway. But he's not able. The places where you can get genuine resources to build roads, he's not able to talk to those people. So these 419 guy can just come around and call him in meeting, and he sits in those meeting and they scam him. So when you elect George Weah, so you asked me about when I say he's not able, what he means. So I'll just give you those examples to show how he's not able to fight corruption, how he's not able to convince investors to come to the country, how he's not able to address the issue about drugs in our country. He can't even speak about it because his hands are tied. His friends are connected to the drugs. So where do we go from here? We need to make a determination. Either we go backward, either we remain where we are and just take one step, even small, or we move significantly forward. If you elect George Weah, we're going backward. If you elect any other candidate, yes, there will be small changes. They will be better than George Weah. They will move one step forward, but no significant change. If you elect Gonglo, we will move significantly forward. So let's make that determination as a country. Do we want to go backward? Do we want to still be around this terrain? Or do we want to really move our country forward? Let's have that conversation with our people. And what we're beginning to see as we engage the people on the ground is that the people want to move forward. The only thing holding them back is this skepticism. This short-sightedness. Oh yeah, we can make it. No, we can't make it. So we need that big push to tell our people, yes, we can move forward. And one of the things we can, maybe I will say this extensively in the next part of the conversation, is one of the things that will make our people believe that yes, we can move forward is to give them the reasons, is to give them the evidence that we have now that George Weah cannot rig the election. He cannot. We can explain to you, we got good reasons to believe he cannot rig the election. So our people should not be afraid. They should not give up that, oh, the man will rig the election, so no need for me to go and vote. Oh, the man will rig the election, so let's just give it to him. No. The good news is we have everything under control. All the things people used to do to undermine the election, we've been able to research all. There are people who were in the election from 2005 to 2017. They no longer are the Elections Commission. Whether it is commissioner, whether it is directors, those people are outside the Election Commission. They do not support George Weah, and they are providing technical guidance on how we can protect our people's vote. So we want to assure them that there's a good news. They should come out and vote for their choice, and their choice will be selected.
Thank you, Mommy. Thank you. Mr. Johnson, where do we go from here? Where, where Liberians going from here? Where are they going?
All right, so I will start from my big brother Gibson, who is into made a very powerful statement and reminded me of my late grandfather that said there was a little boy who intended to test an older man, had a bread in his hand, and then asked the older man, "Is this bread living or not?" And by wisdom, this older man said to him, "The life of this bread lies in your hands. Because if I says to you, it is dead, you open your hand and just allow it go." And say the older man lie. And when I say it is living, you may squeeze it, and then you say the older man lie. So it lies in your hand. So it comes to the point where indeed that the Liberian people at this point in time needs to know that Liberia is at a crossroad. Look 6 years down the line. Where did we come from as a country? 6 years down the line. And this is the kind of a question I always ask people when we are into a conversation. Where civil servants were when George Weah administration brought a draconian policy that is even against international laws, financial economic management laws, that there is no way that you can reduce salaries. It's not possible. There is no historicity of any country or any company, global company around the world doing such thing. But this government came under a draconian policy, an evil policy, to go against the very people that voted them. They say harmonization. Today, we got thousands of our people, civil service, don't know how much they have been making. They don't know how much they're making since they got into government, since this government came to power. These are justifiable reasons. We are telling the Liberian people that you cannot continue to deal with people who don't seek your interest. Like Mami said, we are government said we're bringing 4,000 instructors into the country. Where are they today? Fiasco. The Igbo man, Lungu, company, there's that fiasco. The missing boys, 3 missing boys. These were boys that could have become future leaders of our country. Today, they are nowhere to be found. And we still want to be with the very devil that we think that is harming us. And on the contrary, we cannot also bring in people, a reorganized group of individuals that are part of the problem of our country. And that's why I have consistently maintained we should not elect people who have appeared on the ballot more than 2 times in this country, because their appearance and be rejected over 2 times in this country have demonstrated the will and aspiration of the people that they don't mean well for this country. Let us bring in people with the entire global world have now navigated to a new idea, a new vision. And that's why when we are talking about people like Dr. Clarence A. Monba, a young man with an impeccable character, a young man who has worked in government, a young man who has served serious government positions nationally, locally, and internationally, that today, with all of my Unity Party men, can say, all the men that the argument that they get, the men living here in my house. But I don't know who will not want to be proud living in your parents. There's something we call inheritance. We are not responsible for people not building good home for you. So if my father had the opportunity to build me a mansion, I could be proud to be living in my father's mansion today. Every one of us on this platform will be very proud to live in our parents' mansion. But many people don't have that opportunity. And you want to, what we call transfer aggression. No, we are not responsible for that. That is the only argument. There's young myself as head of the Liberia Electricity Corporation. Go there And nobody has said they may corrupt, they may store, they may mismanage government phone, they may serve a minister of state with a portfolio. Nobody can say they may did that. But the winner argument, they may let me, oh yes, we are proud of that. So it means that he's an impeccable character that the Liberian people can depend on. And like you said, where are we heading? Let the Liberian people elect an individual who understands international governance protocol, somebody who is a lobbyist, because to revamp the entire governance process of the country, you need international experts that you can be able to convince. But when you do not understand the international diplomacy or the international language, where are we? And this is one of the deficits of this government. Because Mr. We are just given on the football field. We got the football said level he boost who put him to the executive marshal. He don't understand the international circles. So that this is a time that the Liberian people needs to say, evaluate Tiawan Gonglo, evaluate Alexander Benedict Kumi, evaluate Dr. Clarence pay money back, and all other candidates that you think about that are on your plate. Even not because somebody contested, or they may be here 40 years. No, it is not a criteria for the presidency of our country. No, it is not. So we must elect people on the basis of competence, on the basis of experience, on the basis of their knowledge. Then we can move forward as a country. But as we speak to you, the living condition of our people does not speak to international global reality, and we cannot continue with Mr. Weah. Mr. Weah must be he shouldn't even be discussed at this point in time. Not Amanda Awitu. Governance is not about Amanda Awitu. It is about policy, and that policy must be effectuated that will better the life of the ordinary people. So as we move forward, like the question is, let the Liberian people make a very clear decision as we move to October 10th.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't want to, repeat what you guys said in terms of all of the problems that we have in Liberia, ranging from corruption to broken homes, to irresponsible government, to insecurity, to, like Mama said, he's not able. I long be wondering about.
You're not into the new thing, you're not able.
He's not able. And I wouldn't have agreed with you, Mame, until you said you kind of sat with him. You know the man, because I don't want anybody just talking from the outside and it will appear like they're just talking from their head. But the thing is, he's incapable. And this is why we can see it clearly as Liberians in his decision-making ability, how he makes decisions about the country. Mr. Cummings said in his speech today, one of the reasons why no investors are not coming to our country because he ain't able to make arrangement, he able to make to produce contract, to read a contract, and to also be the stealing from Jeru, the project manager, to stand on top of the project. You can't say I won't be president and then you just fold your hand and you just get out in the morning, you go play football, you come back, you have fun at Jamaica Resort. You can't do that. That's not the role of the presidency. Okay? Or you can't say, I tired today, I'm not going to understand some of the innuendos that go with the presidency, like reading those heavy, strong contracts or delegating duties to well-meaning, educated Liberians like the one that I'm sharing this platform with, to say, you guys read the contract. I'm also reading the contract, and let's brainstorm and have a question answer for our country. But that is not happening in Liberia. So, when we have incompetency, when we have divisiveness, when we have, a lawless country where the justice system, as Mr. Cummings said, is a joke. The health system is a disgrace. All right. We are looking at who are impacted by the incompetency of the government. We're looking at the young people. Mr. Cummings spent a significant amount of time talking about the young people. The young people in Liberia make up a large population. And if we don't do anything now, if we don't think about how to move forward in terms of where our country will go from now, we are doomed, because our young people are focusing on things like kush. They're getting addicted to drugs. They're very important for the future generation. The young people, we have to depend on them because they are the ones who's going to make up, the workforce in the future. They are the ones who are going to be responsible people to take care of us, okay, 10, 20 years from now. And if they are not in the state of readiness to do that because of the infestation of drugs in our country, we have a problem. And that's what Mr. Cummings spent a lot of time addressing, the young people. He told them, real change is on the way. Help is on the way. He's going to jail the drug trafficker, and he's going to provide help for the young people. Now, I mean, a lot of times when people come here, we talk flowery speeches, we talk in flowery terms about what our leaders can do for us. The how, okay, is something that Mr. Cummings speaks about all the time. How he's going to digitize, computerize our system, because right now the system that we use, I think that the one that people use during the Mayflower time, it is backward, it is ancient. You can go to offices in our country, the elevator is not working. People do not have papers and pen. Nothing seems to work sometimes the way that it is designed to work. Foreigners will come to our country. They will bring in all of their different. I grew up in Beaumont. I find it amazing how the Germans could come to our country and develop that whole area that we didn't even have to go to Monrovia many times. But after they left, everything went south. All right. So Mr. Cummings asked some very, very important questions. And he said, this is where we move from. Where do we go from here? He asked Liberians, if we do not fix Liberia right now, if you're not thinking about how you're going to fix our country, how we're going to move forward, how our country is going to stop bleeding, when would you think about it? Who do you think will fix our country? So that's the question that Liberians got to be asking themselves. If we do not fix our country, who's going to do it for us? The international, in the geopolitics of today, people are not looking to colonize countries anymore to say, I'm going to provide you a system. They are not looking to say, the Russia and the United States are not at a Cold War where they're going to say, I'm going to support Liberia. We have to nowadays struggle for almost everything that we get. We have to make our case to the international body, to the world. And we don't want, Mr. Cummings said in his speech today, we do not want to depend on the international body for things that we ourselves can do, things that we have been blessed with. For example, a fertile land, agriculture. Why will have the people bringing food to us when we can at least try to grow our own food? Okay. So, again, it's the mindset. Where do we move from here? We have to change our mindset in Liberia. We have to stop this whole thing of popularity, or this whole thing of this is our time, this whole thing of, experience versus leadership. Liberians, we have to think. Yeah, some people say, it's democracy, popularity contest. You know what? Democracy is not working in Liberia. It's not democracy because the people who are running our country are not in the interest of Liberians right now. Mr. Cummings called our health system a joke. When you have democracy, the people that you elect, they work in the best interest of you. They work for you. They don't enrich themselves. And that's what we call democracy. When we're not at that place yet in our country. We have to elect someone that will put us on, again, the right path to move our country forward, to increase our literacy rate so that we can make good choices before we get to this popularity contest business. So on that note, again, real change is coming. The fixer for our healthcare, our education, our economy, Mr. Cummings, is coming. And lastly, when we speak about leadership, when we speak about leadership, we speak about someone who has been in two systems. And it's a blessing because you can see where we are when you've been in two systems and where we need to be. And if you have an analytical thinking process, you can do that. You can go and say, I see this is not exposure. Will help you see this is not right. This is not the correct way to go. And that's what Mr. Cummings brings. He brings this level of leadership that he's been exposed, not at a lower level, at a higher level, where he can say, okay, You know, in Liberia, I see there's lots of wasteful spending. Look at our port. Look at how much you have to pay to bring goods or products into our country. And so this is how I'm going to fix it. I'm going to stop it. I'm going to put a system in, maybe a generic system where perhaps you just pay one lump and you can bring your goods into the country. Okay. He's going to say, look, I look at the government. We have a lot of people on payroll. I'm going to stop that. I'm going to put a Band-Aid on that thing. Stop the bucket from leaking. Plug the holes. And we're going to take the money that we get from plugging the holes to better our schools, to better our country. And that's the interesting part about it. The fact that he has high level experience. So I'm going to stop here. I know I've been going on soap opera. I've been talking a lot, so I'll stop here right now. So I want to welcome Miepe, Gondo, and also Mo Ali. It's good to have you guys on today. We're just talking about how do we move forward. Where are we, you know, in terms of the country? How can Liberians move forward? What you did, what you did expect? What do they want? So, do you have any thoughts on that? And then we'll go to Mo Ali as well.
Thank you very much, Doc. Good evening, good afternoon to everyone, to our listeners. I would say happy pre-Independence Day in Liberia, and I'm hoping everyone. I see Sankara is already looking patriotic. Is that a Liberian flag? It looks like the American flag too, but same national colors. You know, the identity crisis. My brother can hear we again, but
my busy
Identity crisis.
Blue.
Yes, truly we capture the people. Happy 26.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
Yeah, I will agree with all of you. Just what you have said. That is, government is ill-fitted. It has outlived its chances of changing things for the Liberian people, and the Liberian people are resolved to remove them and replace them with the capable leadership of His Honorable Joseph Yimam Poeka. I heard my brother Sankara talk about, the only thing they say about my candidate, he live in a man house. Forget those jokes. Your man has a place on the train. He's a good man. He's an educated young man. And we will all work together in the interest of Liberia.
I tell you, if I can work together with the train business, if I cannot talk about train, me have talk about this train here.
And you know, when the train arrives, you were not here Sankara yesterday. I don't know if you follow this show. When the train arrives to the station, there will be a big tent, the JMB tent, that will incorporate all of your talents. You think we don't know a young man like you, very smart, you need to be incorporated when a mission has rescued? We know that. And that's why we are on here saying that we all identify the need for change in our country. Of course, we may have different political leaders. I hear the statement of the Honorable Alexander B. Cummings, strong, re-echoing the need for change. We ourselves believe those things. But where I would differ with my sister, Dr. Richardson, when she said, well, what we have in Liberia isn't democracy because it's not working in the interest of the people. It is democracy. Matter of fact, that's why we call it tyranny of the majority. There's a time that democracy becomes tyrannical because a larger number of people may make decisions that is not in the best interest of the rest of the people. That is why we are saying, being the forerunners, you must embrace us. We must work together because we are more aligned than those people who have hijacked our national covers, who are not delivering to our people, who are not in the interest of our people, so that at the end of the day, our country can be in a better path. Do we believe that if Mr. Cummings were there, things probably would have been better? Absolutely. In the opposition, we are aligned. Do I have any doubts that if Honorable Gonglo or Councillor Gonglo were in the seat, our justice system will go after the things it needs to go after and our country might be on a better path? I would double that. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Do I think that Honorable Monimba is a smart young man, very well learned, and he has something to contribute at some time in his country? Obviously. But the question is, who's there at this moment? The Honorable Joseph Yima Boyka leads the post realistically. And this is why we know that once he is elected, he is going to call upon the Liberian people in a reconciliatory faction. He's going to call on all of you to come together and let's fix our country. We know the how, as Dr. Richardson said, is important. And as she's saying that, we are writing down the how. But before you do the how, we have to answer the when. When we get elected, as we are closer to being elected, we will answer the how. We know those how. And then we even know people who know the how. Some of you here, very brilliant panelists from institutions with a lot of brilliant people. So today, I don't know if you guys discussed or you saw the letter on the Western cluster, that Richardson?
Yes, we did. We did.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about that.
Yeah, something we were discussing yesterday. So, I mean, holding their feet to the fire is helping, because you cannot do a road that is like nail polish, you know. Not even the ladies know, not even the gel kind, just the regular nail polish, you know, it rain and nothing there. No. Yes, that's the letter there today regarding that road, that hazard, that dangerous effort. So there is so much. We talk about our young people being incapacitated, no opportunities. These are things that we have to appeal to those young people, because they don't even know. You don't know where you are lacking, because most times you cannot be more advanced in your environment. Some of them don't even know that at their level, what are the things they need to have or they deserve to have as citizens. So we must continue to educate them and let them know that together, our brothers from the Liberty Party will say we can do better. So let us continue to hold their feet to the fire. Let us continue to remind the people that come October 10th, there needs to be a change, and we'll collaborate strongly to effect this change in our country. Thank you. And I submit.
Thank you. Thank you. Mwali, you look tired from traveling to Minnesota.
Minnesota, that place, so they may reach there.
I see you there because I see a background citizen.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why you're not there, Mwali.
I'm right here.
You took the wallpaper with you?
No, I'm here in Pennsylvania. I didn't go to Minnesota.
Oh, okay.
To be honest, I wasn't following the show, so I'm not sure what the discussion is about. But I believe there are other important things. I don't know if this is the opening part. If it is not, then I'll just say, queuing from what Miape was saying, you know, it is important, like I have been saying and we were saying yesterday, for us to work in the interest of the country. And whether I am on the show or not, there is one thing that we all agree to, that Mr. Weah is not an alternative for our country. The only difference is that we all have one objective. We want to see Mr. Weah out, but we just too many who want to see him out, and we too many who are fighting to clinch the one seat, which is becoming like a problem and is confusing the people out there. They say, oh, all of y'all want one member, who would take it? That is why yesterday when the both of you, I think, yeah, Dr. Richardson and Gibson Jeru said, in fact, Gibson Jeru first said, we want to see our president eating Dunkin' Donuts. I was like, okay, Gibson, we will take that because that's our president coming in. But on a serious note, we yeah, Gibson said it. Gibson said it.
Yeah.
And it flew out so naturally. It tells you that.
Gibson,
you will never regret this moment. Mwali will never let you live this moment without regrets.
No, there's no regret there. But you know, we are talking there. There are so many serious things going on in the country. The other time, some of the bad things. The other time we talk about the transportation of iron ore from the Western Cluster by road to Monrovia overnight in a day. That place that is so congested. I believe it is the weight from those iron ore trucks that made that road to cut. And instead of waiting to face it good, they just put some kind of crush rack there. Saw one Bagwati release from public where they must stop. That release they put there, asking the people to stop. They will still allow those guys to be transporting the iron ore overnight. There is also another thing that concerned me a lot. And it's about my own friend, Honorable Edwin Snow. You know, we have this ECOWAS delegation coming to town, and they are meeting opposition leaders. They are meeting the opposition bloc. If I am over there and Mr. Snow is in any of those meetings, I will request his absence. I will request that he leave the meeting.
Why?
Here is the reason. Mr. Snow is an active participant in the politics, and he has a side. He clearly aligns with Mr. Weah. He supports the president's re-election. So issues that we are discussing with ECOWAS delegation, those are supposed to be neutral people, and we are supposed to put things that we want to see in the election. Like, for example, the opposition people are be saying, look, when you count the votes, let the votes be satisfied at the district level. We cannot be putting forth our case before them and Mr. Snow be sitting there. He's going to discuss with the government, with Mr. Weah and the CDC to counter-strategize what we are doing, especially if they are meeting us first. I will hope that opposition leaders, all of them, when they are having these meetings with the ECOWAS mediators or these peace envoys and everybody, people who are helping to oversee from the ECOWAS point to our election, they should ask Mr. Snow out. We did that when we were organizing the COP protest June 7, and in one of the meetings, Mr. Snow came in, we were asking out. We were clear, we said we didn't want Mr. Snow in the meeting because Mr. Snow is an agent of the government. We didn't believe that Mr. Snow was there as a neutral person to seek the interests of the COP or the other people. And I believe the opposition people should begin to do that. Do not allow our friend Mr. Snow to sit in any of those meetings because he is an active player in the electoral process. He has a side. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Now that I think all of us have an opportunity to express ourselves about, you know, where do we go? We're talking about where do we go? How do we move forward? You know, how can Liberians reflect and vote to be able to make Liberia a more deserving country? And so now I want to move to, you know, you guys speaking to Liberians, okay, addressing some of the barriers that you think that contribute to Liberians voting the way that they have voted for in the past. Just out of your thought process, what stops us from voting for policy-driven candidates? Okay, we kind of talk about that, like we like popularity, we like Bisho and stuff like that. But deep down in some of your conversations you have had with family members, what is stopping us? There's about 2.1 million people, if I'm correct, that is on the line to vote. Okay, what should they be doing? What should they be thinking? And before I go to you guys and just think of my question, I wish Mia Pear was here because Mia Pear mentioned something relating to what I said about democracy. And she mentioned the tyranny of democracy. When we talk about the tyranny of democracy, it's not anything good. It's not a good thing. A tyrant is actually someone who is a dictator. In fact, when you look at the American Constitution, which is that where that word comes from, you know, historically Greek setting, The American Constitution. That's why they put in the Second Amendment the right to bear arms, to fight against people who would be a tyrant to democracy, who would be absolute dictatorship. So it's not in a good context to say, oh, that's part of democracy when we have the majority enriching themselves. No, it shouldn't work that way. Some people who were considered tyrants in the past would be people like Joseph Stalin, people like Adolf Hitler. So that is not a good thing that we want to have in our country in order for our democracy to work. So I just wanted to mention that. And unfortunately, she's not here. But yeah, so Mr. Gibson Jerry, please speak to Liberian people now. Talk to them.
For democracy to work in our setting, as it is understood by the progenitors of democracy, who happens to be the Americans, it doesn't just mean that the people should elect their. In fact, if you do international politics, that's one of the major thing that people talk about. It's not just about people voting.
Is it me not getting Gibson or everybody else?
That you are getting him well, loud, clear.
You're getting me now? Well, Mo Ali, getting me now?
No, I'm getting you, Gibson.
I'm getting you. I'm getting you.
Okay. Mo, you can go out and come back. You can go out and come back. You can hear? Okay, so for democracy to work, it's not just the people electing their government. Because if democracy is only contingent upon electing government, the Ayatollah of the president of Iran would not be considered a dictator because the whole election. The Russians will not be considered communist. Because the whole election. But for democracy to work, it's more than that. It's about the functionaries of government are acting within the armpit of the rule of law. Are the functionaries of government are acting properly? For instance, is the Anti-Corruption Commission actually doing its work? Is it nailing people who are corrupt? Is it going after people who are found in graft? Is the president allowing the functionaries of government to exercise their duty? If the police have reason to arrest someone, do they allow the police to do their job without interfering? But even more than that is the decision of the government actually filtering down to the people down the line. Are the people enjoying the benefit of their government's action? So it's a whole bunch of stuff that I agree that our Liberian democracy has entered a malaise. It's not the way we envision. We're talking about press freedom, the rule of law, fundamental protection of rights, and all of the protection of women, and all of these things. People are being killed in Liberia. We're talking about the one we can talk about so easily is 8 auditors of the Liberian government. Government auditors have been killed. But Joshua doesn't see it necessary that they should go after the perpetrators. Up to now that we speak today, we don't know who killed these people. So they die by themselves. They just die and the government doesn't care. That's why the other day I felt like the arrest and the charging of Musu Scott, they would have did it. I felt that it was politically motivated because when did the government realize that murder is a very serious charge? It's only when it comes to Musu Scott. So those are things we need to be looking at. So George Weah has reneged on this promise. He is reneged on his duties. He is on, and thank you, Amame. I think that should be a new way we can address George Weah. He's not able.
He's not able.
He's not able. They may want to, but he's not able. You know, like one of my friends, Zeze, the guy used to be my longest classmate. We used to say the same thing to the guy. The guy goes to class every day. He goes to school. He never misses school, but he always make the least in the class. So we should say, my man, you're not able to go home. You know, so that the same thing here. George Weah is not able. There are so many weaknesses he has. His understanding of governance system, his attachment to people like Twe and looking at them as his demigods who have the knowledge that he doesn't have, who have certain prowess that he cannot challenge. He cannot say anything to them. Whatever they say, that's what he does. Those are weaknesses that Joshua cannot overcome. He got people around him who are making bad decisions and they are advising him badly. Look, let the Liberian people, if you are listening to me today, the day you vote for Joshua, don't regret. I told somebody last night in Lofa, when I was on the radio last night in Lofa, the person asked, the person said, whether you say this or not, we'll still elect Joshua. And I told them one thing, you Lofian, let me just tell you something. Gibson Jeru got food to eat. I'm living here in America. Even if I go to Liberia, I got food to eat. Alexander Cummings got food to eat. Fiawan Gonglo got food to eat. JMB got food to eat. All the presidential candidates you see in the race, they all got food to eat. You are the one who suffer, who it takes you days before you can have a very great meal. You cannot even have a 3 square meals a day. You don't eat breakfast. You don't eat lunch. You only eat dinner. And you do the dinner maybe around 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the night because you now hustle whole day. You get only $100 in your pocket and go and buy 1 cup of rice. And the person who is causing this problem is Joshua. But if you want to vote for Joshua, it means you agree to live in squalors. You agree to live like a poor man. Poor man. It means every condition that you experience, if your children go to bed hungry, if there's a sore in your stomach, if there's ulcer in your stomach because they are not eating on time, you are responsible because you voting George Weah as president. This man has destroyed our governance system. He has destroyed the very fabric by which Liberians believe that the progress of the government is ahead of them. He is retrogressing our governance achievement. So if you people go out there and vote for George Weah, I'm sorry for you. If anything that comes, you'll take it. If you make George Weah president again, it means that you're like the thing that happening to you. Some of you ain't get food to eat. You praise George Weah. Your children die when you go to hospital. They not get no medicine. Like Comey said, the hospitals are shame. The health system is shameful. The health system is shameful. People go to hospital and die right in the presence of the hospital officials, doctors and nurses. Why? There's no medicine. There's no actual action taken by the government to ensure that the hospitals are taken care of. The health system is taken care of. So when you carry your child to the hospital and no medicine, they die, that you kill your child. If you take your child, your child go to school and they graduate and they cannot spell even your last name, some of them when they speak in gender, it is because George ain't get time for education. And then that you. So when you go to the ballot box that day, you see George Weah, don't put no mark on it, because any mark you put cross there, you say when you put cross, that vote will be invalid. I'll let George Weah not on a ticket. Only one thing on look for on our ballot box. That's a broom. Look for that broom. Once you mark that broom, turn your back and go. Don't think about anything again. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mame?
Yeah, I was struggling when Gibson was talking on, where to start from, because he crosses everything in his thought. But I try to put sense around something. You see, follow George Weah's history and bring it to governance, and think about the reality that he's not able. George Weah is a kind of man who likes fame. He likes people to celebrate him. That part of the reason why he didn't stay long in high school, he had to leave, because in the high school, in the class, they will not celebrate until he scored the highest grade. But he likes the football field, and that's what God gifted him. He liked the football field, so he scored the goals, everybody's celebrating. So from the early ages of his life, he has become accustomed to being celebrated. He just likes to be adored. That's how he grew up. Coming to the presidency,
My understanding is he still wants to be celebrated. He wants to build roads to be celebrated. He wants to bring investment and create jobs to be celebrated. He wants to address agriculture so Liberia can produce her own rice and be self-sufficient so he can be celebrated. He wants to bring electricity and running water. But he's not able.
Not able. He's not able. He is not able.
He's not able. The evidence just shows that he's trying, but he's not able. Why would you want to still keep him when he's proving over and over that he's not able? All the plans he had in his PAPD regarding creating jobs for young people, regarding making Liberia self-sufficient in food production, especially rice. Today, we are one of the world's most food insecure countries. 3 out of every 6 Liberians is severely food insecure. So, everything he tried to do, he failed in governance. He now reverted to, okay, see, I can't do anything. Let me just build small park around the place. So he built park, he goes there, the people celebrate him. But is that what you really need? The people in Claratown being complaining that we need school. The entire Claratown, that whole community does not have a public high school. And you build football park for them.
Jesus.
Entire district doesn't have a public high school. Doesn't have a recognized health center. You abandon that, you build football field. Because in his understanding, football field will make people celebrate him and make him feel happy.
He's not able.
Yes, he's not able. So when we're talking to the Liberian people, when you reject him, when you're going to vote against George Weah, you're not voting against him because you hate him. It's not because you just hate the man. No. It's for 2 reasons. One, you have convinced yourself that yes, he tried, but this thing, he's not able. The second reason is, if you reject George Weah, the next president that will come in will send a message to him that, oh, the Liberian people, you are not guaranteed a second term until you can perform and deliver for them. That's the message we'll be sending to the next leaders. But if you elect George Weah, people will say, oh, but I can come, I take money, I buy 30 horses, I take money, I fly to watch football game. Once campaign comes and I buy a t-shirt and divide rest, my people will still elect me. And once you have people grooming that mentality, they will not invest in you, you will continue to suffer, your life will not change. Lastly, on your question about democracy, look, there is an incentive in Liberia to keep the people poor. There is an incentive for politicians to keep the people poor. Dr. Francine may pay all of us here by the special grace of God. Whenever we go to school, we get some level of intelligence. We can read between the lines. We can make sacrifices for the future. But besides Liberians, poor people generally, we will study poverty. Poor people generally think about today.
Absolutely.
Don't think about tomorrow.
Yes.
Especially hungry people.
Yes.
Hungry people don't think.
Gratification.
That's the reason why the people take food in the schools. So the places we are today, there are school feeding programs because they don't want the children to be hungry in class.
You can't learn.
Hungry in class, you don't think.
Nope.
So there is an incentive to keep the people poor and hungry, so that election time, when you jump back or rest to them, they don't think about 4 years from now. They think about today.
Absolutely.
And that's why I wanted to close on.
You
make to keep the people poor.
You make a lot of sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah, make a lot of sense.
Absolutely.
Mr. Johnson, can you just tell us what should we be telling people? How do you talk to Liberian people?
Dr. Francine, all of the panelists, I think, especially when we are talking about democracy in Liberia, I feel extremely hurt, especially in this 21st century of our time, because I feel that I'm a direct victim, and this is about our generation. And if we cannot right the wrongs now, what becomes of the generation to come after us? And that should be the $1 million question. And my big brother that just left just said something very important. And if you read revolutionary literature, is a set concept of leaders in power that let us maintain them poor to have absolute authority over them. And this is the concept where when we talk about democracy in Liberia, for me, until we can make Liberia a country where about 70 to 80% of the population of our country will be independent economically, I don't think we will have a mature democracy in our country, because poverty have taken over the democracy of our country, where people are not making decisions on the basis of their conscience. They are taking advantage of the poverty for which they live. And our political actors are also taking advantage of the impoverishment of the ordinary people. And this is extremely important. And that's what today, when I see people going to various communities, like the ruling establishment for the last 6 years or 5 years, when did you see ministers or directors in their various communities visiting orphanages, visiting other communities, visiting impoverished people? But because of the election and they want to maintain themselves in power, they take advantage of the impoverishment of the Liberian people. And that's why when you see almost on all of the political platforms of the opposition, when we are talking about economic empowerment, it supersedes everything. Because in the absence of economic empowerment, anybody can control anybody, and it becomes detrimental. And this is something that we all must be able to work upon. That today, under this government, like I have consistently said, Mr. Weah shouldn't be mentioned when we're talking about democracy. Look, Dada Francine, all of the international reports from the last 6 years, when it comes to democracy, this government has miserably failed in all of the international reports. We have not made a single mark. Go to the Human Index report. Go to the Afrobarometer. You're talking about democracy. We have not done nothing positively globally. And you expect international partners, you expect investors to come into the country to invest in a country that is not democratically tolerant, that the issue of the rule of law is at stake. Our investors are not protected. People are getting hit out on a daily basis. People are harassing investors on a daily basis because they feel they have power. The 3 officials that were sanctioned by the American government, if you read the entire thing, it talks about kickback, where investors have been harassed. People use their portfolios to intimidate investors. People left this country since the Unity Party led government left power. There have been over 10 to 15 international organizations. Like I told one intellectual centers today, tomorrow I'll be posting those things on my Facebook page. Serious money NGOs that were providing jobs for the people of this country. They left this country because they feel insecure by this government. So when we are talking about democracy, Mr. Weah don't understand what is meant by democracy, because he had never had a school of thought of democracy. No. So he can't be mentioned. That's why when you see Mr. Weah just building a mini football pitch around the country, he feel that way he came from, and he feel he can run on the ignorance or the gullibility of the young people. And that's why many of us feel frustrated on a daily basis. That this is not the kind of a country we want, especially for a young man that was 1 million elected by 14 counties of the republic. But today, if you football is the only mean, but even the football, how many Liberian footballers have left this country since Mr. Weah became president?
Good question. You're not able.
So this is the question to the young people, says Mr. Weir, because this was one of the major thing they were saying. Oh, let me the poor president. When we made a poor president, the boy get plenty contact. Liberia football will improve. Today, I told somebody, I said, either you said the regional, we got a regional competition between the 4 ECOWAS community, countries. Liberia will not qualify. Because Mr. We have got no interest. But Chan Weir came here, people were celebrating Chan Weir. And at the end of the day, Chan Weir disgraced the Liberian people that he could not play at the Anthony Tubman Stadium because it was not up to standard.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. Chan Weir said he could not play there. With all of the population they put at that place, use government money, transported people at the ATS. Chan Weir said he could not, Tumete Weir said he couldn't play. You got me? So I feel sorry many times when young people are talking about football. How many young people have led this country? Mr. Weir got the ability with all of the international football he played to go to any of the club team and say, I got 2 persons, I got 1 person, I got 3 persons to come and justify on your team. But he got no interest in the young people of this country. Mr. Weir's sole interest is to amass wealth at the detriment of the ordinary people. And that's why he's been surrounded by a group of indigenous vampires, economic vampires that understand nothing about democracy. So we can't be mentioning Mr. Weir when we're talking about democracy. So in a nutshell is that, like, we come back to the previous question. This is a time that the Liberian people must look forward. They must look forward to a young man who got an impeccable character that the Liberian people can boast of his credential, his democratic credential, his experience to transform this country.
And let me guess.
People, because he represents the hope and aspiration of the young people. This is a man you see the young people in him. That's what we are telling the young people. Go to all of the presidential candidates. See all of their photos. So you see Dr. Monima as the face of this generation. And that's why we are blessed and pleased with no regret to support this kind of a man who understands democracy, who are working in the international circle to restore our country's democratic system and dignity.
Thank you. Well done advocating for your candidate. Yeah, I knew I was going to end up so, well done. You score a point that we can see Dr. Monima in the young people, or the young people can see themselves in him. So, Miefe, if you are talking to a diehard sedition right now, some who want to support this government, but you believe that supporting this government will not be helpful in moving Liberia forward, what would you tell them? How would you encourage them, influence them to vote for change?
First of all, I would recognize that the young seditions out there, you being part of the movement, the CDC, is not by mistake. It is a good movement that attracted a lot of young people because of its grassroots credentials, because of the inspiration that the symbol on that ticket. The current president Weir gave a lot of young people. So a lot of young people, first-time voters, they were somehow attracted. But we have to let them know what is it that they need, what is it that they are lacking. We have to recognize that, yes, you have the right to associate. You choose to associate with this group, but have they served your best interests? And then they will have the chance to answer. Look at our schools. We don't want to go to places like America. Just look at the MRU, the basin right there. Look at other countries right around us. Our schools okay? Our healthcare. Look at the communities you live in. Look at the people, the kids, the children in your community, the drugs, the situation. Someone like you're 22. In other countries, they have their own cars, they've completed college, they are working. These people are professionals in other countries. So just look at their lives. So at the end of the day, you can help them to answer those questions. You can help them to understand why they need or change. But by first recognizing why they are where they are. And that's why we must meet people where they are. My brother Abdullah said it well about poverty. Mao Zedong will say when the survival of man is threatened, ethics become secondary. Because people are not thinking about whether this is the right thing to do. They were thinking, how will I live? You saw the recent thank you rally. They were beating a woman, fighting her because she was supposed to get $20 US. She get 500 LT.
I saw that.
People went there to get their daily bread. People will fight for those t-shirts, not because they love the political institution, because they need something to wear in a yard. It is that bad. You live in developed countries. When last you went to a political rally, even if you're a citizen, you might go out and vote when the time comes. And that is after the people have sent a lot of notice to your home. It is not that you apolitical, but because the system is somehow working, and you do not feel a strong need to even, effect change in the system. But the reason you see, even the kids in 4th grade, they know all the battle cry. They don't know their lesson, but they know the battle cry because they know that the only thing that's going on, every little rally there, people were singing the battle cry and they were there. We must let our people know that they deserve better. Because sometimes they don't know. They think that how it happens everywhere. You see, they think that how it happens everywhere. And besides poverty, there is something in addition to the living standard of our people. It's something that is an 1822 problem. Political patronage in our country. It's a huge part. People love political patronage. They love those in government. They believe those in government. To the extent that some people feel that an incumbent government cannot be changed. They think government is so powerful. So you will see Mo Ali is a government minister. You will see Brother Mame, he's doing well, maybe in the corporate sector, but he's not in government. Trust me, who the neighbors respect. They respect Mo Ali more. Man is an honorable minister. It got nothing to, even if Mame is making more than a man. We have a system that has forced our people for years into political patronage. So when you're going against an incumbent government, especially one that has access to our national covers, and one that is not looking back and want every way to win these elections, we must make our people know that one, the power belongs to you. You empower these people. You can change these people. You can fire them if they are not working. And help them to see the fact that they are not working. That's something all of us here as opposition, political people need to look at. I tell you, the first-time voters, the young people, most of them are not bill payers. They don't know how much the economy being bad affects them. Their parents have to find food for them to eat. So you see, they just go with it, $10, $20, what's going on? Rallies, we have to get to them and make them understand that their future is at stake, that people like them are doing meaningful things in other places and that they deserve better. So this is a time for all of us to collaborate. Someone say, if not now, then when? If not us, then who? It is incumbent upon all of us to ensure that that change is there. I know if that change meant Conglo, after October 10, we all
join the train.
Of course. No, we will join the sweeping. How they call the play where they sweep? We'll join the broom. We'll find out what broom. If it meant Conglo. If it meant the fixer, we'll start fixing things. I don't know. I said, Sankara, how they call your people? Sankara, how they call your people?
Who the people?
The young people. The young people.
Who the people?
Or if it means people who are inheritors of properties from their parents, who will join them inherit.
No, man.
If they are not inheritors, I will call them.
the people who we can see the future of the young people in.
I see that in cool. So you have to find another
Oh,
name.
okay. Sorry.
Why are name? Why are your political name, Sankara?
I beg you, my current giving me here. Okay. Yeah, what you're saying? What you're saying?
We got a fixer. We got the rescue. How they call you?
The New Liberia.
Oh, the New Liberia. If the New Liberians, if we have to become New Liberians, we become New Liberians. But we know
we are the New Liberia.
Yes, that's why I say if it happens that we must be New Liberians, we'll be New Liberians. But we from the rescue.
But the people that spawned, they can't face it.
Oh, let's leave that one another day because the New Liberian people, we saw them there. You and they were there, but that's besides the point. What we're going to do is we know that we understand it's difficult with less than 80 days going to outpace the Unity Party and Ambassador Joseph Yuma Boyka. We confidently stand ahead of the polls, but we stand there with humility. We stand there because the Liberian people trust and love our leader, and they look up to him to ensure that this country is transformed. We stand there with open arms to all of you to help us join together as one people, one nation, united with a purpose to change our country. As we move towards this Independence Day, let us sing Liberia and love Liberia. Thank you, Dr. Richardson.
Thank you. Moali, we're talking to the Liberian people strictly today. You know, those Liberians who are resistant to change, who are looking to, you know, elect the CDC again. How do you talk to them to influence them that better days are ahead, that our country is not where it needs to be? So how do you talk to our Liberian people?
You know, when you're discussing these kind of topics and you have all the brilliant people ahead of you, by the time they finish talking, then
I tell you,
nothing left for you to say.
Going.
Everything gone.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, let me start off from here. I'll pick up from everywhere, small. I think it was Sankara who talked about the mini football stadium. Mr. Weah will do mini football stadium in slum communities because Liberians and Africans in general like football. But I want to speak to them. The mini football stadium, you have to sit and ask yourself, who does it really benefit? What is the impact economically in the community? Does it benefit the Liberian people in the community? Does it benefit the community economically? Or does it benefit Mr. Weah politically?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes when you put in this critical thinking, then you come to realize that some of the political projects governments undertake is not for the benefit of the people, but it is for the benefit of the people who doing it. Mr. Weah knows that people love football, and that when he built a mini stadium in a particular slum community, the people will see it as good, and he accrued political benefits from it. How does that change the economic status of the people? I am yet to see it. In countries where they got mini stadiums all over the place, they got park and all these kind of things, these people have gone beyond. There are people, the people living standard are going beyond begging for daily bread on a daily basis. It's no longer about, you know, how the people can get a job. It is about whether the person is qualified to get a particular job. How many persons, for example, in Claratown are living lives that will warrant them to go on the football field every day to play football? It is just by the stroke of luck that you will see kids coming from those communities to become footballing pros. How about the money you use to build a mini football stadium in West Point to improve the healthcare center in West Point? What if you have taken that money to improve the government school system in West Point? What if you take on the money that you use to build mini football stadium in Claratown to improve the healthcare system in Claratown? You know, what if you are taking that money to improve the government school system in Claratown? Would that be benefit to the people? The answer is yes. In fact, what it does, it accrues you a political benefit, and it accrues the people health benefit, education benefit, something that will improve their economic lives. But you see, we look at it from only one dimension. Oh, the men left, or the men that they made the first men to bring football stadium in this place. Those who did economics, they say skill, what? The skills of preference or whatever you call it. There are preference things you can talk about. When you have so many priorities.
Skill of preference.
Yeah, skill of preference. You have so many priorities. You have to know which one to prioritize first. So many things. Do you want to prioritize football now over the school? Okay, let's even assume you want to build a football field there. What if you are built an all-in-one football academy in West Point? A football academy that we have school. A football academy that we have a health center. And kids are registered in the school. And kids want to learn football. But they're not only depending on the football, because it is just one out of maybe 100 that will be successful to even play in the local Premier League in Liberia, on the IE or the Barrow or the Leska. So if you build a football academy or a sports academy in a slum community, the West Point, the kids will go there. Even if they're not learning football, they will be able to learn formal education. They got health center attached there. And it will also be used now as a recreation center. So you have everything you are providing there. But when you just build a mini football stadium, kids go there and play, and they come from there. They don't have money to go to school. Their parents don't have money to put them in school. When they get sick from there, the parents don't have money to carry them to hospital or to the clinic, even the nearby clinic. Then that mini football stadium becomes beneficial only to you who put it there, because it's through you political benefits, so that tomorrow you use it as a campaign tool. You ride on the people and say, and I may bring football here, yeah, you'll vote for me. But when you look at it analytically, it brings no benefit to the people. We have to look at those things. And it all boils down to the fact that we, the politicians, we are all imbued with the Machiavellian theory. They say, keep your subject low, at a destitute level, so that the day you do small good for them, they become beholden to you.
Amen.
That the reason why the vice president will come to America and say, you increase our salary, because plenty of people can beg us.
Yes, I heard that.
Yes. She said it right in the US. So you make their salary plenty. The civil servants do get salary to cater to their family. So the people become beggar, and you become that benevolent person. Oh yeah, the people can come beg me. Oh yeah. And that when you can hear how people talking, then that man good, that woman good, because they beg you, you give them crumbs.
Yeah.
The issue of politicians making people to remain poor is deliberate.
Yes.
It's not that we don't think people can find a solution. They can sit down and think about the solution. But because we want to perpetuate ourselves into power, we want to do it. Let me end up on this note. You can hear all the lawmakers, all of them say, to be lawmaker is not easy. the people can be begging you. But why they can be fighting for re-election? If it's not easy, if nothing happening there, why are you fighting for re-election? Just forget it. Anything that stresses me, I don't go after it. Thank you.
Thank you. They enjoy the position. That's probably why, So I want actually us to go. Diamond, can we go to? Do we have time to go to the phone lines? I want Liberians to speak to us.
Dr. Richardson, 1 minute.
Yes. Let me just ask Diamond to tell me if it's a go or not. Diamond, what do you think? Can we do it or no? Diamond, I don't think Diamond's hearing me. Are you hearing me, Diamond? Okay. I think we'll just be doing our closing. I guess we're not going to be doing that. So, Aya, one more thing, and then
Dr. Richardson.
Yes.
We can go to the phone line, so I can give a local number, and on WhatsApp for those who are watching to call as well. We can do that.
Okay. Yes. So let's do that. Let's hear from Liberians. We talk about the barriers for wanting change. What is preventing them from wanting change. So let's hear from them. How do they think that we can move our country forward as opposed to moving it backward? What are some of their responsibilities? So we'll take some calls and then we'll go into our closing. Let's hear from Liberians, Diamond.
Okay, so folks, to call, you can call 0770 304519 or 08800411165. The WhatsApp number is the orange number. You can call that number on WhatsApp for those of you in the diaspora, so that you can also have your say on the show. What's the general question, Dr. Richardson?
So how can we move forward? What are their responsibility for moving us forward? Why are they resistant? Some of them, not everybody, resistant to change.
Okay. So folks, there you have it. The numbers again: 0770 304519, 08800411165, and the WhatsApp number is +231 770 304519. So we'll be taking your calls right now. Dr. Richardson, you guys can be wrapping up. Okay, we'll have somebody on the line. 1 minute.
Okay.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, Dr. Richardson, can you hear the caller?
Yes, we can.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for having me on your show. I'm Patrick D. Smith. Can you hear me?
Sir, you are loud and clear. Please go ahead.
Okay. I'm Patrick D. Smith. Thank you for the topic from discussion and how we can go further. The second round, no, this is going to be having a second round. So that's that the ANC that's with the UP and the LPP also is siding with the ANC. I think he has saying that the UP go to the second round CDC definitely defeated. Then we do have a cost, but we can get the national CDC working for all because we know what I teach. So in the process of having a change, I don't think that happened. I put our differences behind, and then the second round.
Sir, please, you have to just be brief. We have other callers on the line, please.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. So they're really on this point. So all the opposition political party have to come in an agreement and then force this level out of our hair. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's take this person here. Hello.
Yeah, Diamond, how you doing?
I'm doing fine, sir. Kindly go ahead. Your name and where you calling us from?
I'm calling you from Rhode Island. My name is Ojibune Utah. What is really on my mind is the question of that originally how we can change the country. There are so many ways, but if the senator they will be sitting there and playing joke, serious pressure, don't think we can change our dynamic in this country when we start uniting the actual people. The people that would want to move the country forward. But if we start putting Juba, they're all in there, they will start putting fun at the detriment of the Lebanon people. So that to answer your question, we have to put the equivalent people there for who mean or well meaningful people. They have to be there. Thank you.
Thank
but
you.
now we get a group of people there to joke.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Hello? Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good evening.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much for holding the opportunity to speak my mouth on the Spoon Talk. Today is my debut. I'm so happy to get in the line today.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. You know, we Liberians, this election is about three things, right? First of all, my name is M. Allen G. Vito. I'm calling from my Cogolan resident. This election is about three things. We young Liberians, we don't go by the things, trust me, we will always go backward. It's about the present, the past, and the future. So we need to put our feet on the ground and propagate the message into every corner that we think we can reach to take the vampire into power and make sure the opposition reunite or propagate the message of the opposition and then see one person as our tool and then elect that person as the president of this country. That's the only way the country will go forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Precise and straight to the point. Hello, let's hear you out.
Hello.
Yes, sir. You're live on Spoon Talk. Kindly go ahead.
My name is Jonathan Fine. I'm from Kingsville.
Yes, sir. Go ahead. So we are getting you. Kindly go ahead, please. Your line is a bit terrible. You want to just shift from where you are so we can get you clear?
Okay, you get me now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I said my name is Jonathan Fine. I call from Kingsville. There are many things that we need to do to move forward. But I just want to speak on one of them, and that one is sincerity. Especially for those of you who are political leaders, political commentators, and journalists on the radio. You have to be sincere with us as the electorate. Because there are times that you will discuss somebody as being bad, because the person does not support you. When the person tries to declare their support to you for your political party, the person becomes good. So you confuse the electorate. We don't know where you want us to head. Because today somebody is bad because they don't support you. Tomorrow when they support you, then the person is good. So there's no sincerity in us as Liberians to determine good leaders. So that one of the reasons, there are many, but they're trying to say young people on the radio, especially you can be on the radio. They'll start confusing the people. Today John Brown doesn't support you. John Brown is bad. When you support it, tomorrow it becomes an injury. So you gotta help us. When the person is bad, let you be bad always. If it's good, let you always be good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So from your analysis, people can change. Once you bad, you just remain bad forever. 0 triple, I was about to read out the station number. 0770 304519 0880041165. And for those of you wanting to contribute via WhatsApp, the number is +231 770 304519. So our last caller said, once you bad, you bad. Even if you change sides, you continue to be bad. So we should label people as such. Hello, let's hear you out, please. Go ahead. You live on Spoon Talk.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Kindly go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I'm calling you from Edmonton, Canada. I just got one question for the Liberian people. And that should be the defining moment going into this election.
Hello? It's like Edmonton in Canada, they harmonized. Are you still there with us?
Yeah, I'm there, my friend.
Okay, go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm asking Liberians.
Sir, we keep losing you.
Yeah, keeps going in and out.
Under Joshua.
You have to repeat your question, please, because we lost you twice. We lost you twice. So kindly repeat your question.
I said, hello?
Yeah, you live. Go ahead.
Okay, your internet. I'll try calling back the internet.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I was getting you perfectly. All right,
Dami,
two more calls.
Closing, yeah.
All right, let's take this person. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, sir. You live on Spoon Talk. Kindly go ahead.
Yes. Thank you. You misunderstood me. I want to give you an example when I say when somebody is bad, tell all that the person is bad. For example, the ANC was running behind Jeremiah Cohen to be the vice running mate. How long has it been since Jeremiah Cohen has become a bad person to them? He hasn't gone anywhere. There is Musa that actually doesn't criticize as being corrupt. He took a Google the new Musa Pelete. In Google Musa Pelete, and he said that he stole FIFA money. And so they pay him for 10 years. They also paying over $500,000. But today, when the ESC people begin to discuss corruption, they don't talk about Musa Pelete. They are there with him. If Musa Pelete was supporting somebody, it will be on his back. Those are the kind of hypocrisy that I'm talking about.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. So you call back to make clarity and then use the ANC as an example. All right. So let's take this person here. Hello. Hello, you are our last caller. Let's hear you out, please. Okay. Dr. Richardson?
Yes, thank you, Diamond.
We have this last person on the line, please.
Oh, okay.
Hello.
Hello, Dan. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well, sir. Let's hear you out.
I'm Ansu Kamara calling from Swakoko, Bon County.
Okay. How is Bon County?
Bon County is okay, my brother. I will follow the show. Monrovia, Bon County, everywhere I go.
Thank
But the
you.
problem here is that, Gizzy I left the show. I want to ask Gizzy if whether Unity Party or GNB is the ruling establishment. Every time I come on the show, instead of opposition going together to get rid of the gangster for all of Liberia, he always attack GNB, Unity Party. But I'm very sorry I left the show, but no problem, we'll still follow the show. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. From Uyala in Bon County with love. He says from Bon County with love. So, Dr. Richardson. So that's all the time we have to take calls, folks. It's back to you, Dr. Richardson, and the rest of the panelists. As you said, you're wrapping up.
Yes, Diamond, thank you very much. Let's move towards doing our closing. It's been a beautiful show. I just, can't resist telling you guys that I appreciate all of your thoughts, comments. They were very brilliant and make me proud to be a Liberian. So, Mame, let's start with you. And I'm sorry that I omitted your thoughts early on because I forgot. But tell us, I hope you can integrate what you wanted to say into your closing. So let's start with you.
Yeah, there's this new prison in the country that many people not talking about, or probably people it's not taking the headlines. We need to pay keen attention to. There is a new prison in the country. The prison is in the hospitals. People are detained because they cannot pay their bills. What is even paining is the maternal detention. You are women. The most happiest moment of a woman is when she gave birth. Touches her child and walk out in celebration. Women across the country today giving birth and be detained in hospital with their babies by their side, and they are on phone sending messages to people and asking to raise money to free them. It's terrible. It is not because some politicians are happy about it. It is not because that's what George Weah wants. It is only because he doesn't have he's not able to solve that problem. He's not able. If you re-elect him, he will still not be able to solve that problem. Women will still go to the hospital, born their children, and be chained on the bed because they don't have the means to pay. I wanted to highlight that. Let our people begin to think about solution to their problem. You can love somebody so much to the point where you realize that I need to make a decision for myself. But also, and most importantly, the good reason to reject George Weah is we are now moving in the future. The next leader coming and realizing that, oh yeah, there was a president
Right after he became president, he built more horses for himself than he built schools for the entire country. There was a president who would care less about what's happening in the country and wouldn't speak. Would travel to watch football game. But the Liberian people, even though they like him, but they use him as an example. And when that message is sent to the next leader when they become president, instead of building horses for they and their girlfriends and their families, they will start to build schools and hospitals for you. That is why it is important. Every other leader that will come after George Weah will depart completely from what he did and begin to focus on the people. Mo Ali spoke about building soccer pitch. Let me tell you where it's coming from. And probably tomorrow, if I have the time to get on the show, we'll talk about other strategies that they're borrowing. Look, Eugene Langbe is the campaign chairman for George Weah. He was the co-campaign chairman to Ellen in 2011. He was the best friend to Rabo Salif and they designed some strategies. Rabo Salif Foundation with Eugene and they started building small soccer pitch across the country.
I remember.
They got good number of votes. The results show. In 2011, from Monserrato compared to 2005. Fast forward to 2017 and today, the people in our slum community, the mistake they are making is, and we didn't say this soon, when they to complete their stadium first before we can say it. The message coming from our community is, but all the football field, the people be, how did they get a job? All the football field, Rawa said, they all in the community. How did they provide jobs for us? How did they increase our income? How did they address hospital issues? How did they keep us in school? So the people were concerned that building football field doesn't solve their problem because they saw it, they witnessed it. Football field, small stadium were built all around, but they remain poor. They still cannot afford. They live still in the same condition. But you didn't capture that and you go and start building football field again to them, hoping that because it gave somebody vote in the past, so it will give you vote now. But the people have realized that football field doesn't solve the problem keeping them in poverty. And we need to just keep reminding others that if you are not yet convinced yourself that the football field from 2011 were built in your community, but you still poor, there is no hospital, there is no school, there is no job. No new football field will give you job. No new football field will give you hospital. No football field will give your parents job. You will remain poor. You need to elect a leader who can address the problem based on experience, based on competence. And this man will all see he's not able.
Thank you. He's not able. The theme for tonight, he's not able. I want to go to Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson, could you please give your closing?
All right, thank you. And let me appreciate our listeners for always listening to us. Whether your disagreement is the beauty of democracy, and we love criticism. But just to reiterate, like almost all of us when it comes to democracy, just to recap, many of us who continue to read revolutionary literature, it tells us that when the struggle of the belly intensify, integrity and moral are swept under the carpet. And that is the reason why we continue to strive for economic stability, that our people will be independent, not only politically, but they must be independent economically. And that's why when we ask the 1 million questions today, as to what are we celebrating as a country. After 175 years, few more hours or minutes from now, not hours, but few more minutes from now, we will be hitting 176 years of independence. Are the people of Liberia truly independent? That should be the fundamental questions. And that's why when we are talking about the governance of the state, we must be real to ourselves and not be sentimental, because it is about the future of our country. And that's why I have consistently said that I believe in the tenacity of all of the young people of this country. And by global statistics, in almost all of these sophisticated countries around the world, where every one of us will want to go, got to power at a very young age. Many of us will want to imitate Barack Obama at a very young age, even though he was being underestimated. But we know his history in the governance system of America, which is the world's greatest country, the world's biggest economic country. He elected a very young man, an exuberant, educated, and experienced young man. We come to France, where today almost every Liberian in this country will want to go to France. Emmanuel Macron, he got in at the age of 38, 40 years. He became president of one of the world's greatest countries, France. So why will Liberians continue to underestimate young people? They will say, oh yes, you got all of the good ideas. You are brilliant, but let the man wait so much. Liberia can no longer wait for development. That's our argument from the angle of the New Liberian movement. We cannot. So when I hear my sister Mepe always talking about we are in the pool, we are in the pool, we lead in the pool, no. If you are mostly be talking about, it does not necessarily mean that you are leading the pool electorally. Because this man, this older man, who we should now be talking, saying he should be an advisor to many of us as young people, because this is a generation that we must be able to protect. It is because he has been around for over 40 years. He's not part of this generation again. We cannot be expecting other people to be talking about our generation 10 years from now. We must be in that generation that the unborn generation must be imitating and enacting policy that we will be, implementing policy that we will be acting at this point in time. And that's why Mr. Weah is no longer a face. So when people say, oh, Dr. Monima is pouring vote, it is because Mr. Weah has miserably failed the Liberian people. It is because poverty is written in the faces of the people, and he no longer enjoys the confidence of the young people that supported him few years ago. So yes, they are now gravitating to us, and they see Dr. Monima now as a true face of this generation. So I think moving forward, the Liberian people, 2023, October 10, is a time that we will determine as to whether this country must move forward or we must remain stagnated. And I believe with the popular hope of the people of this country, they are resolved. They are resolved in a louder tone that Mr. Weah is no longer a face that they can work with, because he lacks every competence when it comes to governance. And our country is in a charade. This is a banana republic that we can no longer hope on. In the opposition, we cannot continuously be fighting because Mr. Weah, at the end of the day, we must now select a face that will represent our generation. That's why I'm so proud every time to be on this platform, because I see so young faces. 10 years from now, we will still be together. 15 years from now, we will still be together. And that's why I normally hate to make force with anybody. Let us discuss the issue. And that person to represent this generation is Dr. Clarence A. Monima in that manner, great speaker to the presidency of our country. Thank you very much, and thanks for the opportunity. Once again, Moari, Marangono, Mame, Richardson, happy pre-independence to every one of you.
Tomorrow my birthday. Say tell me happy birthday too.
Oh, tomorrow birthday?
Sure.
We'll sing happy birthday to you at the end of the show.
Okay.
My twin say on you. Sakara, all that talking you do, my twin say on you, so you better send it by way. Or I know y'all can mail things from Liberia now. Or that part of our family. Okay. Let's go to Mia Pep, please do your closing.
You gotta put your fourth on the mail. They may get American flag. They give me 20 cents. Your July 4th next year.
Oh my goodness.
But we're good show, and brother Mame, happy pre-birthday. We hope you enjoy. I don't know how the 26 looking. Sankara will have to tell how it looking on the ground. They should be the best 26 because the 26 right before the election should be a lot of free things going on. So who knows? Maybe in the next couple of days there will be a lot of distribution, not just with the disabled people that we saw, the chaotic distribution among the disabled people, maybe other places they will be distributing things. But yes, brother Mame was right. I think you remember the incidents when a man committed suicide when he couldn't pay his bill. You remember? Yeah. And that was our government hospital, right, at JFK. Yeah. Just looked to the back and said, his pride, man, you were calling all his friends. Nobody could rescue him. And, that is something that no one should be held simply because they cannot afford something like a hospital bill, especially at a government entity. So, and at the same time, I don't mean that doctors should just work for free. We also have to equip those places and pay them accordingly, and also provide for the least in our society, because you know how civilized a country is based on how it treats its most vulnerable citizens. Those who can't afford to pay, those who are in prison, those who are sick, and whether it be mental illness, how we treat the most vulnerable people in our society tells what kind of society we live in. So these are tough times for Liberia. You talk about the pitch, and you brought up the naming of Eugene Nangwe as the campaign chair. Well, it's even more than this man was co-chair, and there was soccer pitch bill, and there was vote accumulation. I don't even think that kind of logic was put into that selection. What I grab from that selection is that there is a thought within the party that those guys from Lofa have hijacked the party for the next 9 years. Look at the leadership. You got Koji, you got Molu, you get Jangako, you get Thomas Fala, you got what's the one from Monserrato that we're about to change? Sir Joseph. Yes, all of them. There's this thought, and this party is perceived to be a Southeastern party. So to outdo them or to bring back that Southeastern face, you had a confidant and a friend of the president who happens to come from Maryland, the Southeast, being put there, and also to remind them that you guys have not hijacked this movement yet. It was more from a political stand. And I'm happy because I don't think the brother can pull any miracle in this campaign. The opposition is going to defeat him. Our rescue mother is a stronger campaign manager, the Honorable Yombli Kanga Lawrence. She's out there. She's navigating the train routes, and we are going to get there. And Brother Sankara, I know you talk about the young people, and you know, every election has its own challenges. Every election circle has its own argument. Unfortunately, this is a time that the people are a little bit skeptical about very young people when they saw what the young people have recently done to their country. So it's good. It's not that other young people are not competent and they cannot. Right now, they've decided to turn back to the old math. You say we should just tell the old man, sit there and advise us. Is that why you're doing to Ma and Margaret? The old man is leading this movement. He's the conductor, and he is bringing the next generation of young leaders along with him. The likes of the Honorable Jeremiah Kuhn, Yombli Kanga Lawrence, Darius Dillon, Magdala Cooper, you know, the likes of Mo Ali, even the likes of Samuel Sankara Johnson. The old man will have you on the train. So you think we do not know all politics aside that one of the brightest young men on this platform is Mame? We know that. You can't help her. I wish he was in our party. The young man is bright. So do you think we are going to say because he's part of the Gonglo party? After the train shall have arrived and rescued Liberia, there will be this big JMB tent. All talents will be pulled together on the national and international level. You think we don't know in the diaspora due to our years of civil conflict, there has been massive brain drain, that we have all of our professionals in the diaspora. Those people need to go home and fix and bring those systems that Dr. Richardson talked about, put it there, and we can be able to build a country that is comparable to their neighbors like Ghana. We know that, and no people will come. Even in the very CDC, those who haven't done bad things and they were smart, they are learned. We are going to incorporate all Liberians, that they will not be spectators, that they will be a part, no matter where they come from, in terms of ethnicity, in terms of political affiliation, in terms of religion. We are going to bring people together. That is the mandate of our political leader, Honorable Joseph Yima Boyka. Comes October 10, the Liberian people are going to vote him. Come January, he will be inaugurated. He will bring the country together. He wants to see a diversified government, or he wants to see a government that bringing people from all walks of our country and from all areas. So let us continue to work together where we need to work together, and make sure that there is change. And make sure when we go home, it is not depressing. And make sure that our country will remain united. And make sure that the country called Liberia will be redefined. So I want to say happy Independence Day to all of you, Diamond. Thank you for being there behind the scenes, keeping it down. I hope all of you enjoy your Independence Day. And I can assure you that this Independence Day may not be the best one. But come 2024, during the government of Ambassador Joseph Yima Boyka, you will see what it means to have a holistic celebration all across the country. Someone was asking me, do the counties even celebrate the 26th ball and celebrate in every county like it used to be? You're going to see it. You're going to see in Maryland County, they were celebrating at the same time in Sino, in Grand Cape Mount, in Nimba, in Lofa. We're putting out our best on the Independence Day. This is the kind of Liberia we're working towards. And it can only happen when we get out there and tell our people, let us vote against this government. And to do so is to protect your vote. To protect your vote is to put it in a meaningful basket. And that basket is the basket that is almost full. That is the basket belonging to Jeremiah, Joseph Yima Boyka and Jeremiah Kuhn. No,
thank you.
Respect seniority, Joseph Yima Boyka and Jeremiah Kuhn. So vote for change, vote for the Unity Party-led government. That is the new UP. Do not fear that UP. There is no Rawa Salif in that UP. That UP is coming to do good for the people of Liberia. Thank you.
Okay.
No Rawa Salif, that's
Okay, thank you. There's new tag team leader here. She really working. I hope Moali, you're taking note of that. Y'all got to increase her pay. Okay? Okay, she's working too very, very hard. Moali, I don't know if you can beat these brilliant panelists that we have tonight, but let's see how you can follow.
So let me be the one who will give a vote of thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you to everyone for the show, and I know we are all pushing our individual candidates, and I know at times the waters will get rough, we'll rough each other, but let us all keep at the back of our mind that we have one target we are looking at, and that is Mr. Weah. Mr. Weah does not care about what happens to Liberia. The guy once said that the Liberian people owe him, so they have to pay his debt. Because he used to take Lone Star and carry Lone Star on his own account, so he credited all that and so paying his debt. So at least we not pay it there for the last almost 6 years, 5 years and a half. It's now time. Yeah, we finish paying the debt there now. You owe him. So that's
La susu wa here.
He said we ate a susu for that time to eat now. So if you eating a susu, then you get our country back so better people can build it up. I'll end up on this note. The other day, I saw a post from the former superintendent of NIMBA. They carry motorbikes, and they were dividing the bikes on school kids, school-going kids. And I thought to myself, yes, kids need bikes and everything. But what is the regulation? Because most people in the interior side, Dr. Richardson, the one notion they have is that I'm going to school to get money, to learn book, to get money. So if I get shock of getting money now, there's no need of going back to school.
Correct.
You know, and when you know that these are kids that are just in elementary, junior high, and senior high, and they get one bike, that shock out to getting money, at least for the time. They were not putting a thought process that will say, yeah, this bike will spoil. I could have accident. And the bike will just sit down and spoil. And then school finish, bike finish. The other thing I want them to understand, the very security officers they are with in NIMBA and other parts of the country, police, DEA, army people that are supposed to provide security for them, do they have bikes to move around? Do they have any form of mobility? Are they thinking that is it because of the low or no logistical support to the law enforcement agency that is leading to the high rate in crime, the high rate of drug abuse in the country? When you put all of these things together, you will know that some of the good that people do is not really good for you. It is good for only them. And that's where the economists say there is no free lunch. Why over the last 5 years, the people didn't go divide bikes in the school? The first thing when you bring that to me, that's the first thing I would think about. For 5 years you've been there, why you bring bike to me?
I'm telling
Why
you.
at this late time? So you know that, yeah, that bike they gave you that not free, they want your vote. And your one vote, that plus one, could bomb the whole country for another 6 years. And by the time we finish with that, they finish with that country, trust me, you'll not be talking about 14 years civil war. Because the damage that will be done will be more than the 14-year civil war. You have to put it in that concept and understand that when you put Mr. Weah back, even though there is an absence of heavy gunfire, but there is a presence of massive destruction of the country. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mo. You guys have a hard act to follow, you know. I don't even know where to begin. I just enjoyed the brilliant minds today. But I want to start off by, you know, going back to something Mr. Cummings said today. He talked about the mindset of Liberians, and he talked about electing the right leader. I want to start with the mindset of Liberians. I want to characterize that mindset by, you kill my mom, you kill my pa, I will still vote for you. Some people are still thinking this way in our country. There's another thing that they're thinking about. You know book, you not know book, I will vote for you. When I think about the theme of what that mindset means to me, okay, it suggests fear. It suggests inability to reflect on what is happening in our country. It suggests to me some kind of trauma response, okay? Maybe perhaps people are frozen, they don't know what to do. And some of the feelings that people have in our country, the people who are resistant to change, the people who continue to go around, you kill my mom, you kill my pa, I will still vote for you. The people who say, you know, you not know, I will still vote for you. They rightfully are thinking in the right direction. After all, in our country, we have a history of oppression. So trust is an issue, okay? After in our country, we had war. We had a civil war that lasted for a long time. So people then started to develop this kind of thinking, I don't care. You kill my mom, you kill my pa, I will still vote for you. In so doing, you kill my mom, you kill my pa, they moved to they elected someone who not able. Somebody who not able. They weren't even reflecting. They weren't thinking about our country. They were only thinking about that instant gratification. So they went to somebody who not able. Now, I'm asking you today, Liberians, to let's come back to where our country needs to be, as Mr. Cummings said. Let's elect a leader, okay, that will kind of put in the tenets of democracy, that will not erode our democracy, because after all countries, all leaders, except maybe the men who are not able to even conceive that we strive to move forward. We aspire to move forward. That's the goal of all countries. That's the goal of leaders. That's the goal of a person. We are developmental oriented. We want to move forward. Okay. You see that under this leadership, democracy has eroded. Okay. You can see that we have no limited respect for human rights. When I hear Mommy talk about the women in JFK Hospital, when people have to call me to collect the money so those women can go home, it hurts my heart, because that should not be happening in a country that respects democracy, that respects human rights. When we think about the fundamental of democracy, which include freedom of speech, press freedom, we just had a recent situation where our radio station was shut down. Now, that may not have been connected to the government, but we can tabulate that as involvement, interference with the freedom of speech in the country. We're thinking about fair and free election in our country. You know, Mo Ali, I think it was yesterday, mentioned about how they found ballot boxes in river, in isolated places in our country. Suggests to me that even that tenet of democracy, we are not there yet. Okay, and this is why we were so worried yesterday about poll washer. Most time, yes, you worry about people rigging the election, but to the extent where people are on edges, how are we going to manage to make sure people are watching? You know, maybe I said we got to get even the Chinese light for us to see, to make sure the numbers are being counted. We talked about one thing I can say, one tenet of democracy that I can say that we are practicing very well. I don't know to what extent. We have multiple parties as evidence in the amount of people that are registered to vote. It could be we are practicing at least that tenet of democracy that speaks about multiple party, or we are saying something that Miape said, government job, that's the most respected position. Mo Ali said, government job, they come to you so you can feel better because you are handing out things to people. It's only for your gratification, not for the people. Separation of power, as you can see, there's none. There's no separation of power in our country. These power should have like check and balances in the country. We should have our legislature different from our executive branch and our judicial branch, but they all seem to be merging. Sometimes somebody who may have a dictatorial mind will say, let this person go. Don't let the law apply to them, and everybody will go because that is dictatorial. And lastly, when you have a democracy, you're supposed to be speaking about the pursuit of happiness. People should have opportunities to move forward, to reach their dream, their goals. And Ellen Johnson said that if our dreams don't scare us, then we are not working hard enough. Your dreams should be able to scare you so that you can accomplish your goals. So Mr. Cummings, again, works in systems, which I think Liberia has a lot of laws, but what we have done, our system of government has not enforced those laws. And I believe that Mr. Cummings can enforce those laws. This is somebody who has good leadership skills. This is somebody who has good integrity. Nobody's perfect. He's not a perfect man. No way I'm saying that. And none of us are perfect in Liberia. All right. We have the scars of oppression on us. We have the scars of the Civil War on us. And we, for the most part, some of us who come and speak, We just want a better Liberia. So Mr. Cummings has never been the kind of person who was involved in war. He was never the kind of person who was, part of a corrupt system. Okay, he has his own money. He doesn't want to steal Liberian people money. So this is why when I speak about you coming to vote for Mr. Cummings. Vote for Mr. Cummings on October 10th. That mindset and that leadership. Again, experience is different from leadership. I've worked at the university for 20 years. That's experience. What have I done in that 20 years, such as developing, the diversity program, teaching and mentoring new professors, having the orientation for them. That's what we call leadership. Staying them in the class and not acting like a fool. Yelling at people who ask me questions, that is leadership. So again, leadership is different from experience. Mr. Cummings comes with leadership. He wants a more discerning Liberia. So make that decision. You are responsible for fixing Liberia. You only need a leader that can do that. So tonight, I want to tell our viewers, thank you very much for being here with us. I can tell that you guys stay with us, how passionate you feel about our country. I want to tell you, panelists, thank you. This was such an awesome discussion. I hope we'll get back to discussing it again. And also, the callers, you did great. You called in, you asked your questions. Thank you for all of your comments and your feedback. And Diamond, thank you very much. And of course, CEO Stanton is not here today. I want to tell him and his family, thank you for giving us this opportunity to be able to speak to the Liberian people and have this kind of dialogue. So thank you, guys. We'll see you again tomorrow.
Happy birthday, mommy.
Yes, let's sing happy birthday to mommy. I can't sing with mommy, so I
Not tomorrow, not today.
Oh, okay. Good
tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay.
My 26 on y'all better come tomorrow. So I send my own 26 by mail. Long time ago, we used to mail things from Liberia.
No problem.
Okay. All right. See you later.
All right, fine. Yeah.
Okay, folks, thank you so much for watching. This is how we come to an end of another edition of Spoon Talk. Today, we also bring you Late Night Politics on Spoon. That is going to come on at 1 a.m. here in Liberia and other times across the world. Thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye.